Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the, just the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week in Byers, Colorado, when an upstanding church-going woman goes missing, everyone suspects a couple with a twisted past may have some information or worse. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, again for joining us on another crazy, murdery, I don't even know what to call it.
Sticky.
Wild.
I don't know.
Let's hope not. But definitely murdery edition of Small Town Murder.
It's always sticky
always
one way
a
or
little
another.
Crazy. Yes, we are so excited that you could join us this week. We have a crazy, crazy episode going back out west this week.
Great.
Last week, as you know, another insane episode.
What the fuck?
It's been a wild journey lately. We're going to keep that going. First of all, I want to thank everyone for your reviews this week on Apple Podcasts.
You're amazing people.
The purple icon. Thank you guys so much for that, because honestly, it's not us.
Yeah.
We don't want to look at them for our ego. It's a business thing. We don't understand why, but it helps drive you up the charts. So you're more visible, more people see you, more people listen to the show. It helps out a lot. So if you haven't done it yet, please do that. Give us 5 stars. We know it takes a second to sign in, but it takes longer to put the show together.
It's true.
Help us out there. 5 stars. Say you're following instructions, maybe following directions. It's not for our ego. You can't fix us with words. is what we're saying.
God,
so
no.
when you're done with that, you can go to shutupandgivememurder.com
Hell yeah.
for everything small town murder and crime and sports related. If you're not listening to crime and sports, I don't know what is wrong with you. Good one to start with is this week. Christian Asoy, the skateboarder. There's really no sports.
No.
It's, we're not going to talk
There's
about
no stats.
Yeah, there's no stats or anything like that. You're just talking about a guy's crazy lifestyle.
A lot of meth.
And crime and meth and a lot of jokes. So
You know what? There's a dude in Baltimore that does radio who his mother slept with Christian Asoy in 1992.
good for him.
And I
Look
found
at
that out this
Isn't
week.
that wonderful? I'm sure she'll be very happy to know that everyone knows that now. Wonderful. Good for them. So yeah, go head there. You can get all of your merchandise things as well. There's all sorts of new stuff all the time. And most importantly, tickets to live shows, because we got a bunch of them coming up. A lot of them are getting sold out now. Milwaukee's, I think they finally said
gone.
they're gone. Dallas is sold out. St. Louis, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, sold out. Dallas sold out. I think I said that already.
Yeah.
Coming up here very soon, I think it's the 14th and 15th of September.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, whenever that is San Diego and then LA. Get your tickets now. San Diego are just about sold out. We have like 20 left or something. So get
Almost
those.
nothing.
And there's a few left in LA too. So get those and come out and see us. We're going to have a good time.
Let's party.
And I will throw joints into the audience as I traditionally do in all my California shows. All the shows we do out there. So we're going to have a good time with that. Come see us and hang out. Otherwise, if you want to be a hero of ours and be talked about at the end of the show like a long lost beloved dead relative, 'cause that's how we're going to speak of you in hushed, just loving, glowing terms, you can do that by being one of our producers. Very easy to do. You can go to patreon.com/crimeandsports and make a donation, or go over to PayPal, use our email address, which is crimeandsports@gmail.com. And where can they find both of those links, Jimmy?
Over at shutupandgivememurder.com.
That's right.
We've set it up very easy for you people.
See how that works?
Go right there.
It works right there. It's
So
beautiful. Quickly got to do the disclaimer. This is a comedy podcast. It's a comedy show. We're comedians.
It's true.
We're going to make jokes. So that's how this works. We can't help it. It happens. We're going to make jokes at the expense of small towns. Maybe if they let a murderer go for a year without catching them or something like that, or maybe a murderer. Maybe we'll make fun of them.
Hell yeah.
But what we try not to do is we try to go out of our way not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Because
we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
there's where the line's drawn.
That's where we draw the line with that. And we think that makes it okay and palatable. And it's just, we don't like neither of us are into the very serious, and she was found and buried. And it's just too much for me. It makes it a lot more sad. And for us, either way, these things happen.
Right.
Us, whether we say it in a monotone voice or we make a joke around it, it's not going to change the fact that somebody died. That's the way we look at it.
Can't bring him back.
We might as well try to have some fun with it. So if that sounds good to you, great. If you think true crime and comedy should never go together, this probably isn't for you.
It is not.
It's probably not for you, because comedy is what we're doing here. All the stories are real, everything like that, but we're looking for comedy. But everybody else out there, I think it's time to lean back and clear the old lungs out and get ready for the normal Thursday routine. Just lean back and shout, "Shut up and give me murder!" Let's do this, Jimmy. Let's go on a trip.
I would love to.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Last week we were out east. Now we're going out west.
Yeah.
Let's go here. Where were we? Arkansas last week?
It was.
Oh boy, yeah.
That was sticky.
Arkansas was a stick. That was I could feel the humidity reading about that damn place. Brutal. This week we're going out to Colorado.
Oh, great.
To the mountains.
I love
Jimmy's
it.
from Colorado. So
It's my favorite.
Colorado's beautiful.
It really is.
It's gorgeous
Legal
there.
weed.
That's fantastic.
You're
They
gonna
figured
love
it out. Look around. It's gorgeous. You can buy weed in a store. This is great. We figured everything out here.
Head on over to King Supers and pick me up a 6-pack of joints.
Oh, it's wonderful there, Colorado. It's a wonderland.
Yeah, it is.
And we had fun at our live show last year. 2020. That's one of the first ones that's lined up for
Great.
2020 is Colorado.
We were
Salt
at the
Lake
summit,
City.
but we're trying to get to an intimate
place.
comedy club.
Yeah, we're trying to do. You have a couple of those.
Yeah.
And we're going to find one.
Denver's great.
Denver's great. Yeah, we're working on that. So we're going to Byers, Colorado.
Okay.
You know where Byers is?
No, I'm trying. Is it up near Steamboat Springs? Well, you wouldn't
I don't
know.
know where the hell Steamboat Springs is. I don't know local Colorado.
I'm giving references
Where?
that you wouldn't
Over
know.
by Old Man Harrington's farm, Jimmy? Wait, you mean when you go to the barn and hook a right at the fork? Is that what you're saying?
I'm giving you
How do I
references
know?
that you don't know,
No.
and I'm probably wrong.
No, you know, they might be wrong. Well, I'll tell
It
you
might be
where it
over
is.
by Greeley.
It's in north central, kind of eastern Colorado. It's in the Denverish area
Oh.
here. It's 50 minutes to Denver.
Oh, great.
So 50 minutes outside outside Denver.
Northeast?
Yeah, it's that kind of where Denver's kind of right.
All right, so it's equidistant to my hometown.
Probably.
Colorado Springs is just an hour south.
It's kind of, it's one of those. It's 2 hours up to Cheyenne, Wyoming from here. 45 minutes north of the Kiowa, which was our last Colorado episode.
Right.
I think episode 91. This is in Arapahoe County here. Zip code 80103, area code 303, 4.3 square miles. So your average small town. Motto, I couldn't really find a motto, so I had to give them one on my own because they're really not big on technology. Their website looks like they built it in 1996 and then said, "Now don't touch it ever. Just leave it like that." It's really weird.
They fucked up a lot, and they were like,
"So weird.
This was impossible to redo again."
We
so
can't
nobody
redo
touched
this.
it.
No one here knows how to do it. Anyone here know anything about computers? No, just don't touch it. Fine. Motto here: quote, "Come for the nothing, stay for the nowhere." So
beautiful.
I feel like that's as good as it's going to get for them. So you can use that. I'm giving you permission, Byers.
The thing is, when
Put it
you
on
go
your shitty website.
Denver, when you look at it on a postcard, you got like the Rockies in the background. That's all taken from the fucking east.
Oh yeah, because if you look the other way,
if you turn around,
flat.
it's shit.
You're just looking at Nebraska. You go, oh wow, that's.
Look at Kansas.
I can see clear. Was that Omaha?
I
over
think
there?
I can see a Perkins.
I can see a terrible, awful place that's worse than Cleveland. I think I can see that. Omaha, worse than Cleveland. So, there's been a post office here since 1873. The community was named for William Byers, who was the newspaper editor there. He started a big newspaper.
An editor?
He started the Rocky Mountain News. I guess he was the first editor there. It was the first newspaper printed in Colorado.
How about that?
And went until 2009, because all the newspapers are dying.
The goddamn internet.
That's what happened. The internet's taking it. We're crushing newspapers as we speak here.
The internet killed the Byers star.
And that killed it all, man. So Byers apparently was started out in Iowa in the 1850s, and then he went to Omaha when the city was being laid out in 1854, and
quickly got the fuck out.
Yeah. It's like, this place is terrible. No, he was the first deputy surveyor in the Nebraska Territory.
No kidding.
Very exciting. Look at that land. Want to survey flat land? Hey, look.
That's got to be the easiest job on earth.
I don't know, just squares.
Yeah.
We're doing all squares. The whole West.
Doesn't matter.
Not just the county, everywhere.
Lay the shit out in a grid.
Yeah, from here to California, just all squares. We don't care.
Easy peasy.
If there's a river, just draw it on that. It's fine. Right down. There you go. It's so strange here. So Byers moved to Denver in 1859 to take it. There was gold strikes in that area here. So he took the printing presses from a defunct newspaper that he had in Nebraska, or from some other newspaper. He loaded up his ox cart and went west.
Those poor oxen.
Jesus. This is
fuck! Can you imagine how many oxen it must have taken to move printing presses?
That's what I mean.
Those are so fucking heavy.
Back then,
right?
they were very big. Yeah. He and another guy were authors of a handbook to the gold fields that they put. So they got there and immediately published. They didn't know any more about the gold fields than anybody else. They just got there. So they got there, talked to a few guys, and wrote the handbook to the gold fields. So all the newbies that were coming in looking for gold would buy a pick and this and that, and handbook to the gold fields, and put that in their pocket too. So it's very smart. There's always these people springing around any type of boom town. There's always someone like,
is that the birth of the
we
program?
Can make a buck.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's just it was smart. It was a manual, a guide to
genius.
It's very genius here.
Extra couple of bucks.
Extra few bucks here. Yeah. So he used it an oxen. That's an ox cart. Think about that. In 1863, he purchased Hot Sulphur Springs in northern Colorado.
Beautiful.
From a Minnesota Sioux woman in what's called a shady deal, causing the real owners, who was the Ute tribe, to sue him unsuccessfully.
Really?
Yeah. He planned on turning Hot Sulphur Springs into what he called America's Switzerland, and it didn't happen because the railroad was supposed to come, and it didn't come until 1928.
What did he want to do? How do you make that America Switzerland? Make it just neutral there?
I think that's something about the springs. I think it's something
I imagine
to do with
it's healing and such.
I think that's what he was going for, like a mountain.
I thought he was trying to get like all Bernie supporters there.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're just America's.
Everybody neutral.
Everybody's
just
neutral.
Free thinking.
Let's stay out of it all there, you know. No, he was...
You don't bother me, I don't bother you.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Bernie supporters neutral, really. That's no offense to them.
Point,
It's not really nobody's neutral.
I'm just saying.
Switzerland,
Yeah.
in terms of warfare, you're saying.
Yeah.
Switzerland's staying out of shit here. He made a bet in 1863. Railroad's going to come soon.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to come right here. And it didn't come till 1928.
Oh,
so
no.
That's a bust.
Whoops a daisy.
That didn't exactly work. He built, it's like, whoops. Bad speculation there. You know, he talked to some councilman or something that was like, the railroad's coming. I got on good authority. The rail. And then it just never. When's that railroad coming through?
Hey, fuckface, I got a lot of money invested.
I got a lot of sulfur and springs here. So get your shit together.
You fucking jerk.
God, these people. So in Denver, he built several mansions, including one that was known as the Byers Evans House, which is now a museum located next to the Denver Art Museum in downtown Denver. Yeah. Him and his wife relocated to what they called South Denver and organized a dry communinto there. Like, Denver's nice, but this booze,
all this booze,
how great
it is here.
Yeah, let's go out there and stare into the plains with no booze in our systems.
Get away from these Coors boys.
Yeah, you know how that goes there. So anyway, he planted a bunch of trees on this one property, and it's around William N. Byers Junior High School, apparently there. And so that's how that worked. During the 1860s, there was basically cattle range and sheep industry around here when the gold started to... Because the gold rush didn't last long here, as they don't usually last long, gold rushes.
Eventually, it's all gone.
People tend to get it quick, pull it out, and then there it is. You got it all.
So the thing is, it's not like a conveyor belt. Yeah. There's not a lot being made.
That's the problem.
It takes a bit.
And if it's not a good place, people just leave.
Yeah.
That's why, like, Tombstone, with, like, the silver and all that.
Once the silver's gone.
This is the desert, man.
We gotta go.
Later, I'm going to someplace better.
Fucking hot.
San Francisco, gold dries up. They're like, that's a great view, though. I'm from Iowa. Have you ever? This is gorgeous. I'm staying here. I don't give a shit if there's gold or not. This is beautiful, man. There's an ocean. It's better than gold. Come on here. So this is awesome. A guy who had the biggest cattle operation in Byers, his name was Joseph Farmer.
No shit.
That's awesome. Man.
How do you? That's
great. Well, he was destined.
Didn't even change it?
He was destined.
That's amazing.
He could have been, I'm Joseph Rancher now.
But I mean, that's what their last name was.
Farmer's
basically
great.
what they did back in the day.
He grew crops too.
He comes from good farming stock.
I'm sure he had crops also on that. So Joseph Farmer there. Joe Farmer.
That's awesome.
It sounds made up.
It does.
It's like a kid's book. Joe Farmer woke up to water his crops in the morning, and he walks out.
Sounds like a Sarah Palin character.
Yes, yeah. Joe
Farmer. Joe Plumber.
I'm here for Joe the Farmer and Joe Farmer, and he's like, hey, don't speak for me. I have my own voice. Damn it. I have cattle. I'll fucking speak for myself. So... Jesus Christ. So there's a lot of skirmishes between Indian tribes and cavalry during this time in eastern Colorado, but nothing really around here. It was quiet around Byers. Very quiet. People came around here in the early 1900s. The homesteaders came. They, because basically all the plains lands were taken by then, all the Nebraska and all that, so they just kept going west and west till they got here. So they there was still some land left for people here, basically. People who came, the homesteaders, lived in what they called just sod houses, or what they called a, quote, a soddy, which sounds terrible.
It does.
It was created from 3-foot strips of buffalo grass sod, which sounds, I guess you just stack them up or make walls out of sod.
Just like kind of fucking staple it together?
I suppose, or I assume it was probably mud it together.
I feel like you fall asleep with a cigarette and your fucking house is gone.
Yeah, well, the problem is it was good for temperature, because like in the summer, it kept it out. In the winter, it actually was pretty decent insulation. It's like you go underground,
that makes sense. I mean, if you ride a motorcycle, when you go under an overpass in the summertime, it's so cool under there. Great. And in the wintertime, so warm. It doesn't make any sense.
But
it makes sense.
It stays a consistent temperature that's better in comparison. But here they did that. Problem was the other things that would seek refuge in places like this, because it's like a natural thing. Were shitloads of animals and snakes and rats and skunks and
raccoons.
They burrow their way in there.
Yeah.
How's it going? This looks like some shit I would build for myself, being an animal.
This looks familiar.
This is really great. I love what you've done with the place. I usually build them small. smaller. I put the couch on the left side, but I don't mind what you guys have done. This is nice. What do you got, a 42-incher there on the TV? Because I can't fit that in my joint, but I like it. Just a 19-inch,
I'm going to stay here.
This is good. I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
Now let's bring back the Sahara Desert fart fact of the week.
Great.
Let's do this. We've been asked for it plenty. So as an incentive to build railroad tracks, the Kansas Pacific Railroad received a federal land grant that resulted in the railroad receiving odd-numbered sections for 20 miles on each side of the tracks. For every mile of track, the company earned 20 square miles of land. That was the deal. You put a mile down a track, you get 20 square miles of land. So you get all the land around the track, basically.
10 miles on either side.
It's like building in Sim City.
Yeah.
And you get squares around the road you put down. That's kind of like what it is, like back in the day. And, railroad companies would then own the land, so they would sell the land off. And it was valuable right next to a fucking railroad track. So this was good incentive to build railroads.
Can you imagine that being valuable?
Yeah.
Nowadays, you live near a railroad track. What the fuck's wrong with
nobody?
you?
But back then, even for businesses though, it was to load cargo on. You didn't have to then load it onto an ox cart and then take it to the thing. You could just
gets dropped off at your
right
door.
At the tracks. That's what they used to do. Their backs of their buildings would go right up to the tracks there. So a bunch of towns were created from this, including Byers in 1889.
Okay.
So that's your Sahara Desert fart fact of the week. 1 square mile of track. 1 mile of track equals 20 square miles of land.
We've all learned.
And we've learned something, because I didn't know that. Anyway.
Is that 10 miles on either side? It's got to be,
probably,
right?
10 on either side, I think.
It's like an easement.
That's like putting a SimCity street down.
Right.
There's squares on the sides there. So people in this town, 1,212. So 1,200 people here. Up 14% since 1990. More males than females here. The demographics, it's about 47 is the age. So it's kind of a little bit older, kind of families, kind of that sort of thing. It's about 10 years older than the national average. Everything 45 and above is high. Not a lot of kids here. So that's how the ages go. More married people than normal, 63% marriage. Normally it's 50-50. Low divorce rate, a little high on the widow rate, but there's older people here. So you're going to goddamn expect that.
This is going to be religious though, isn't it?
Well, we'll talk about that. But single with no children, usually 10%, 3% here. So not your party, get down. Single with no children town. The people who are here, it's kind of a family thing. Race in this town, 92% white.
Yeah.
So awfully pretty white.
Awfully Caucasian.
0.5% black, 0.0% Asian.
Wow.
Not having that shit at all. Either on either side, apparently. We don't want you here and they don't want to come. I don't know what happened there. We're not going there.
We're at an impasse.
I don't know. Yeah, there's some sort of disagreement, obviously.
Or they're in full agreement.
No thanks.
Don't be here. Okay.
No thanks. Keep on walking. All right then.
No thanks.
Everybody
and no
just
thanks.
shrugs and all right, and that's it. All right. No worries. 5.9% Hispanic here. Religious in this town, 34.5% religious, which is low.
That's fascinating.
Because they're older.
Yeah.
Older people forget that they believe in anything.
Fascinating.
Once you hit 75, you forget you believed in anything, or you're just you're like, I'm in a lot of pain and everyone I know is dead. What am I worshiping?
Maybe I'm Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just at this point, you're like, if there is a God, he sucks.
Right.
So fuck him. I think that's what people get to when they're old. You know, they have to. I don't know, either that or they latch on, either one. 2.5% Baptist. Most of the people, there's 13% Catholic, but it's not really anything. 2.6% Mormon. I'm surprised they haven't invaded further. 0.0% Jewish. Not just, not having that. 1.9% Islam, though, which is high for a small mountain town.
It really is.
It's way higher than we normally get here. Last election, about 53% voted Democrat, about 38% Republican. This is in Arapahoe County. And 8.6% independent, which is a lot. But out west, anytime you get mountains, you get people that think differently like that. You get a lot of independent. Vermont, New Hampshire, a lot of independent voters. Here, a lot of independent voters. Something about mountains. I don't know what it is. I guess the people who want to go live in the mountains is a different.
It's a different breed of people.
It's a different breed.
But they did. I mean, they got legal weed first.
Yeah,
it's a forward-thinking group.
They did a great job.
They did.
Very impressed with that.
Well, I mean, Denver's was it John Denver? Was it John Denver saying Rocky Mountain High? I mean, Rocky Mountain High is. That's why that shit got legal. I believe.
Hilarious.
Because they've been singing about it for years.
It's always always been a weird play. Like Hunter Thompson almost won sheriff of Pitkin County.
Did he really?
He lost by like 3% of the vote or something.
Colorado's
it's
shit,
insane.
Man. They're so great.
And he shaved his head bald, super bald, which was weird back then. Wore dark glasses, and during debates refused to say that he would stop taking mescaline. The only conceit he would make is that he wouldn't take mescaline while on duty. He goes, but I get off work. I'm not telling. That's my time.
8 hours a day. I'll be clean.
So that's what I mean. It's a different breed out there of people.
And they're like, that's my guy.
People, they ran a guy for before that too, and they ran under the freak power ticket, and they got a shitload of votes.
Wow.
Like the Democrats and Republicans had to pool their votes together,
try to beat him
to elect a different person because he was beating.
He was dark horse.
Yeah, he took it from both sides, so they got together. So they were like, we can't have this lunatic. He had a thing of he was going to tear up all the roads and put down.
I want dirt roads.
Put down grass. No cars downtown. Like this whole thing, like this big thing. It was awesome.
That's genius.
Awesome. It was weird.
And that's Colorado.
That's Colorado,
it's
man.
Crazy.
That was Aspen.
You never know.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So
you don't know what we're going to do. We're crazy. We're wild cards.
It's interesting. So 3.1% unemployment. So pretty low here. Household income's a little high though. It's usually about 58,000. Here it is almost 65,000. So a little bit high, but not high enough, as we'll look at here in a second. Jobs, there's a lot of construction, a lot of blue collar jobs going on here. Not a ton of like white collar shit happening. Cost of living, 100 is regular, average, par, and here cost of living is 142.
Okay,
so it's a little bit high, and everything else is normal except for housing, which is high.
Fuck yeah,
it's about 203 housing.
Jesus.
So
Colorado, slow down.
The median household income here, or median home cost here, $369,900, which is that's high because I mean the income's a little high, but it's not that high. So if we've convinced you,
I don't know how,
that you need to go to the mountains and peer out to the east into the plains. Wonder why the hell anyone lives out that direction.
Went through the grain.
If you want to do that, we have for you the Byers, Colorado Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here is actually seems like a bargain. It's usually about $1,250, $1,310.
Wow,
which is only a little higher than average, but it's not double the average like everything else. I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,232 square foot house that needs some help. It's rough. It needs help. It's just not great.
Oh God,
$279,900, and that's about as cheap as you're going to get.
Oh fuck,
here you can get land at a decent price, but to build something on it is expensive. I found a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 3,672 square foot house that needs a lot of help. It's got a lot of problems. It looks like it needs some, I don't know, maybe some roofing.
It's 4,000 square feet.
It's a big house though. $399,900. So if you want to put some dough into that house, it could be an investment. I'm not sure. Then I found a house. You want to stretch out a little bit here. It's 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,550 square feet, but it's on 39 acres.
Yeah.
So it's a huge, and
it looks great.
Potential horse property. It's got like 3 different buildings. It's got a garage separate, a house, and then like a little, like a workshop thing.
Right.
Looks nice. $534,900.
Jesus.
But that's a lot of Colorado. 39 acres is a lot.
That is a lot.
It's a lot of land.
God, that sounds great.
It's open. It's a lot of
it.
A lot open. I don't know.
I want to own that.
534 grand.
James, will you live with me?
Go live with me in a field. We can peer into Nebraska.
Can I rent the garage from you?
That's perfect. Let's do it. So, things to do.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this is the thing.
There's tons of shit to do up there.
Oh, you know it. And I found the one: the Turkey Shoot Dance and Fundraiser.
Oh no. Colorado, what have you done?
Grab your turkey, shoot it in the face, spin it around, and make them soup. I don't fucking know.
Turkey shoot.
The turkey shoot.
God, Jesus.
It's to raise money for veteran services, treatment, and I believe suicide prevention. But I took a screenshot of this to show you. They will not print the word suicide on their advertisement.
Wow.
So they do an asterisk. They asterisk out the word suicide.
Let's come together and raise money for veteran services, treatment, and blank prevention.
That's what it's an exclamation point. So they want to get you jacked about it, but you're not allowed to say.
We don't want to tell you what we're
suicide.
preventing.
Yeah, which is
it abortion?
It's just weird. It could be anything.
Is it drugs?
Jerking off? What are we, jerking
masturbation
off. Yeah, that's what I mean. Tell people what they're preventing. They need to know it's a serious issue is what I'm getting at.
We're preventing some shit.
We can't pretend it doesn't. The word, not even the word exists. I don't think that's helping, but dance, drink, take your chances, mingle, and win. All exclamation points after all that. Dance the dust off your boots. Double exclamation point. So you can do that. 60% of the proceeds will go to the Veterans Asterisk Prevention Program.
Does it have it again?
Everywhere in this.
Wow.
It has it. Nowhere.
They will not tell you what they're preventing.
Everywhere. And it says it like just in sentences, like raffle will be donated to veterans treatment and asterisk prevention. It will not fucking say it. They will not tell you what these poor guys
that is so good.
What these poor people
what
are going
afflicted
through.
With.
Yeah.
We can't, it's so bad. We can't tell.
We can't even discuss it. That's how bad it needs to be prevented. Can you imagine that? Like, they're having like AIDS fundraisers in like 1990 and they're like, we're having an asterisk fundraiser. We can't say what it's about. Okay.
We're having a prevention seminar.
Look at the sentence and check out the context. You know what we're saying. No, this is weird.
So the thing that Magic Johnson might have one day. That.
It's going to happen. Trust me, I have an inside track here. Tickets are $5 each or $5 for $20. Great prizes will be won. Okay. All capital letters on great prizes. Yeah. So they're going to be great. Not enough to tell you what they are, but they're great. I don't know. Either way, it's good cause to donate to.
It's the most vague fucking thing ever.
Just tell you what, that sounds terrible. Just stay home and send them money because it sounds terrible. The whole thing sounds just awful. But
there he is. That's James. That sounds terrible, Pietragallo.
Not on purpose either, but it does sound terrible.
It's so good.
Stay home and write a nice check for these veterans, and so that you can prevent their asterisks from happening, because we don't want our poor veterans to asterisk. We don't want that to happen. We don't. As a country, we should take better asterisk prevention.
Keep them from committing asterisks.
Yeah, we can't have that. Because the real victims of asterisk are the families left behind with nothing left but a bunch of asterisks. And they're like, now what?
It's the children when their parents are just gone because of asterisks.
Bill passed away. What happened? How did he die? Asterisks, man. Got him. They finally got him. They caught up to him.
He got the asterisks.
And we're not making fun of veteran suicide. We're making fun of the fact that they don't
talk about it. God damn
that's how you prevent it better.
Yeah.
Just not trying to do a good thing, but they're just like, we can't say suicide.
Right.
That's depressing.
It's
a turkey shoot. We can't say suicide.
We can't involve guns and asterisks.
The next sentence tell them to knock the dust off their dancing boots. Like, we can't do that. This is getting weird. So
we got to keep Ted from feeling bad about himself, you guys. He might shoot himself.
Yeah.
Ted, you're not allowed to participate in the turkey shoot.
Put your asterisk down right now. Jesus Christ.
That's hilarious. They've got guns and fuck. Oh, yeah. Good Lord.
So
you're going to shoot a turkey in the name of a guy shooting himself in the face.
We're shooting this turkey so it won't asterisk itself, because that's worse.
Fucking hell. Unbelievable.
So, crime rate in this town, what we're interested in besides turkeys, is about property crimes, about a third lower than the national average. Mm-hmm. And violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and of course assault is about the Mount Rushmore of crime is half the national average. Wow. So it's a safe little town, like we said. Skews a little older. Mm-hmm. It's that sort of a place. But bad things do happen here.
Oh, yes.
And we know of one bad thing that definitely happened here. Let's talk about a murder. Jimmy, what do you say? Let's talk about this. Let's go back in time a little bit here. Okay, let's go back to 1985, shall we?
Okay.
Oh, it's a glorious time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, second season of third season of Stranger Things.
Is that what it was?
That's 1985, right there. New Coke is happening.
My mom was moving me through Wolf Creek Pass coming back here to Phoenix, Arizona at that
Interesting.
time. Yeah.
1985, I was moving about in a series of apartments with my mother as well in 1985 in New York. But yeah. So we were both having a great time in 1985.
We're both moving. We're both on the go.
Things were unstable, let's say.
At best. There was a man in the driver's seat who liked to flick me in the fucking forehead.
That was
his punishment of me. And it hurt so. I remember I remember being 4 and 5 years old and feeling, I don't remember much of that age, but I remember that fucking sting in the grocery store
That is
when
awful.
I'd pick something up.
That's awful.
Just fucking whacked in the face.
That's one of the worst stories I've heard of. The one of the worst stories I've heard of stepfathering is that one.
Yeah.
If you combine that with a cousin of mine talked about a stepfather he had in the 70s where the guy wore like a shitty leather jacket, but on the back of it, I don't remember his name, and if I did, I don't want to say whatever, but his initial was an S, and he made an S on the back of his jacket in tape.
No.
In like fucking electrical tape on the back of his jacket.
He walked around with that shit?
Like that. Like that was the design he made.
Fucking Steve.
That was his embroidery. So that I remember so clearly as my cousin being like 6 years old, even him at that rate knowing like this, what a scumbag.
That's the guy that will
10
flick
years
you
old.
in the face.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like those
Don't
guys
flick
are
a toddler right in the
simpatico.
fucking forehead.
I wonder if he went from my aunt to your mom. I'm not positive.
I can see it.
But it could have happened. But we're going to 1985. This is late 1985, early 1986. Let's talk about a couple. Let's talk about a couple of people who are together. So they would also be a couple.
Hell yeah.
So Gary and Virginia May. Let's start there. Okay. Gary and Virginia May, they have 2 children. They have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. 7-year-old's name is Brandon. 4-year-old's name is Krista. They live on a ranch. It's just northeast of Byers.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back.
Do it.
That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your
all different.
multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure, yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Bombas socks.
BOMBAS.com.
Oh, these are such good socks.
Yeah.
It's the thing. I don't care about socks.
No.
I'm not like a sock guy who's like, I got to get all these different designs. I see people who are into socks. That's not my thing. I'm not into socks. I don't care about socks.
Yeah.
And then I get these socks and they're ridiculous.
You're into socks.
They're so good. Yeah, now I want more because I'm like, I didn't realize they could be this comfortable. They're really comfortable. They're awesome. They're you can tell the difference for wearing these socks and other socks.
Right.
That's the thing. Notice normally socks don't have a noticeable difference from one to the other. These absolutely do from these to any other sock that you're going to buy. These Bombas are amazing. They're the most comfortable socks you're going to find. They're really fantastic. I know Jimmy tells everybody about these socks. You don't understand.
I got the low tops. I got the tall ones. They're so comfortable.
They're great.
They're cushy. They've got padding.
I've seen him telling people
good.
at airports about socks. He's like, my socks are great. They're like, oh, you're weird. And they walk away.
Well, I got to take my
strange.
shoes off, and they're like, what are those socks you're wearing? Oh, these are Bombas. You don't know about Bombas?
Showing them off, man. So they're really, really great. They're super soft, natural cotton. Every pair comes with arch support, a seamless toe, and a cushioned footbed that's comfy, but not too thick. That's the thing. It doesn't feel like you're on a platform. They're amazing. Many colors, patterns, length, styles. Bombas look great everywhere. The gym, the office, out on the town, wherever you're going. And for every Bombas purchase you make, Bombas donates a pair of socks to someone in need, which is great for everybody. Buy your Bombas at Bombas, BOMBAS.com/smalltownmurder today. BOMBAS.com/smalltownmurder. Do it today. You get 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/smalltownmurder for 20% off.
And now back to the show.
And it's a big ranch. This ranch that they have. Virginia's father also is in the ranching business. She's basically like Ree Drummond. Or no, she's now Ree Drummond. Her husband's in the ranching business, and then she came in and has to make BLTs while they bury their mother in the yard.
And bury ranch hands.
You bury ranch next to them.
Yeah.
That's, by the way, there's just a quick offshoot here. Ree Drummond's doing this tour. If you haven't heard, I cannot tolerate the Pioneer Woman. We watched the show and I'm just like, oh, you fucking assholes.
You grudge watcher?
Stop
Is that what you
saying
said?
chicken like that. Stop it. We're going to make chicken. Chicken. Every time. We're going to have some chicken and we're going to mix it in, and she just kind of does this so they're
like flops.
She doesn't have it looks like
T-Rex
It
arms?
looks like her wrists don't work, and she has to fling her hands into things and mix shit. It's really weird.
Who was it that had there was a movie where the guy's hands were numb and he was just flopping them around?
It's kind of like that. That's what but yeah.
Looks like her hands are
it's just more
got
about
Novocaine all over them.
It's more about her speech. It's more about chicken. It's just, So anyway, and then they're burying people in the yard, and I'm like, what is happening? Well, she's doing a book signing tour thing, and so we're really considering going. Me and Sarah, we want to go. It's $32. You get a book, and she'll sign it, and I can go, why do you bury your fucking mother-in-law in the yard and make BLTs for the ranch? This is weird. How many people are buried at your house?
Say chicken right.
Yeah, say chicken right. Say chicken. Chicken. See that? Chicken. How many people are buried in your yard? What's that? I figure that's the point. They'll start dragging me away. How many people are buried in your fucking yard, Ray? How many? How many did you kill?
How many are responsible?
Sarah's just smiling. Hi.
Can we talk about
to James if you could? Thanks. Be terrible. So actually, she'd be next to me yelling louder. Yeah. Serious? How many people, Ray? Answer him. We encourage each other. It's not good. So
when is that?
Soon, I think it's we're here. I was like, are we on tour? I was like, we're in town for that. I might go to that.
Do I bring my kids to watch you get thrown out of
that? Would be amazing.
I will Instagram live the fuck out of that.
Chicken. Dragging me through the door. I'm holding on the frame, screaming, chicken. You know she says it funny you people know I'm right. So
my daughter will encourage it. She'll be like, yeah, tell her.
Get her. She has people buried. Even your daughter at 8 will know that's weird. Yeah. How many people are in your yard? That's weird.
It seems like a lot.
So your dad's mom is in your yard? Is there no cemetery where you're from? Super creepy. And you made your kids help? That's even weirder. Come on, kids, gonna bury grandma. So, wow. So, anyway, her family, Virginia May, back to these Gary and Virginia May. Sorry about that sidebar here. Her father, Rod McLennan, and her brothers, Scott, Dan, and Dave, are also all in the ranching business. Yeah. So that's their whole game is ranching business, and so are these guys. They're very salt of the earth, what you would think of as like rural, ranchy people.
Fuck yeah.
They're very nice. Mm-hmm. They're kind to everybody. They're church going people, and they're like, they're that type of, they're a stereotype almost, these people here. They go to church all the time. Virginia May meets a married couple at church, that she, seems to like, takes a liking to. Yeah. A guy named another Gary. I don't know if maybe that helped.
A lot of Garys out there.
Same name as her husband. Mm-hmm. So this is Gary Lee Davis and his wife Becky. Okay. So Gary and Becky. So we got Gary and Virginia, and she goes by Ginny, and we have Gary and Becky. Okay. So there we go.
It's better than Verge.
It's doing great. Yeah, it's much better than Verge. My mom had a friend named Verge.
I had and
it was always like
Bedpuddle's grandma's name was Virginia, and they called her Verge.
Yeah,
I was like, how about we don't?
This Verge was a mess.
Really?
Oh God, she was just always smoking and drinking and complaining about things, and fucking. She was like the type that would show up with makeup all over her face and like a bottle of booze in her hand. Yeah, going, I think they're like drinking and shit. I remember having to like go to her house and watch videos in her living room while my mother would console her for hours in the thing when I was like 7 years old. I guess I'll watch WrestleMania 3 again. It's long anyway.
Anytime I hear Verge, I just think of the fucking Tombstone. I think of Virgil.
Oh, yeah,
That's way too close to a dude's name. How about no?
Well, especially that dude.
Yeah.
It's goddamn
that's
Sam
as manly
Elliott.
As it gets.
Yeah, Sam Elliott's just a penis with a mustache. He's a
like
man.
Like all the mustache. Like nobody else can have any mustache because he's got all of it.
Stole all the mustache.
So big.
That's why Kurt Russell's wasn't as impressive in there. He's like, I wanted to grow a bigger one, but next to Sam Elliott, I look like a pussy. So, you know how that goes.
There's a Mexican guy with a catfish mustache.
Oh, that's
like
a good one.
3 whiskers hanging out of his lip on either side because Sam Elliott's got the rest of them.
Do you think Val Kilmer just sobbed at night?
He did. He had to. Jesus, how much of a bitch am I?
He just rubbed Vaseline on it to like he's a 12-year-old in the 60s trying to get
growing this since I'm 9.
It's not working, man. So she meets Ginny, Virginia, meets Gary Lee Davis and his wife Becky here, and in February of 1986, she hires them as ranch hands to work on the ranch. There's a ranch that adjoins there's a separate bunch of different ranches, and the Mays and McLennans both have their ranches, and they're all kind of adjoining, basically. So they hire, so he ends up getting hired here, Gary Lee Davis and his wife. So Gary Davis and Becky, they give him, there's a house owned by their employer. He's not employed by the Mays and McLennans. Mm-hmm. It's another ranch that butts up against their property. Okay. So it's like, I can try to find you work. I think that's what it was. They just moved to the area, and they're a married couple looking for work. And she said, we don't need anybody, but I'm going to see if maybe my neighbor needs somebody. And she gets him hired on as a ranch hand over next door. And, they live on, the Davises live on the property of that ranch right there. So, right there. It's the one that's, the Mays and the Davises live pretty close together.
Mm-hmm. And there's a house in between them that they live in.
basically. Well, there's ranches. There are two big ranches.
Right.
And, yeah.
But there's like a ranch hand house in between the two houses that these people live in.
No. That's in their own property. And then
Jesus.
On this, there's a ranch that the Davises work at now, and their ranch hand house is, I guess, closest to the Mays' house of any other house in the area.
Got it.
So that's how that works, Virginia and Gary Mays. So, and either way, Gary Davis and Gary May, they meet here and there. I don't know if Gary Davis doesn't, or Gary May doesn't go to church with his wife, or how that works, but they don't seem to know each other as well. They seem to all know Virginia.
Okay.
I don't know if she's just more social or how that goes, but they met a few times when they were working on fence lines between the properties. Okay. How you doing, Gary? Gary. Hold on, my brother Gary's coming. Is my other brother Gary?
Pleasure to meet you, Gary.
Hey, how you doing, Gary?
I'm Gary
hey,
also.
have you seen Gary, by the way? Because he's Gary's Gary, the pizza delivery guy.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be here soon. The pie. Yeah, I don't have that right now. I got to call my lawyer, Gary, real quick. Hold on. Hi, Gary. It's Gary. I'm here with Gary, and Gary. I was wondering, have you spoke to Justice Gary and found out about if our case is going to trial? What the hell's going on?
It's my dad's fucking maternal mother.
Of course it is.
With the name Jerry. Like, everything was Jerry. Every person she had a kid with was named Jerry, and every child was named fucking Jerry.
I like you, but I'm looking for a Jerry. I'm very specific. Just very.
How do you do? What's
she
your
pulled
name?
it off, though.
Your name's Tom? I'll see you around.
She found that many Jerrys. Good for her.
3 of them.
Some people can't
and then
find
had 3 kids and named them all Jerry.
Jesus Christ. Jerry, and Jerry. So there's 6 Jerrys hanging around?
Jerrys.
Too many Jerrys. That's what happened in all of Colorado.
Fucking ridiculous.
And it spread.
Jerry's and Garys.
Too many Jerrys and Garys. So apparently Gary Davis was this is the ranch hand, not Virginia's husband. Gary Davis here they talk about that he would make off-color comments to the other ranch hands, which is like, if you've ever been in a guy situation, guys say gross shit.
They do.
Around. I've heard people who are very upstanding say horrible things about women. Women, you have no idea. You think that we're like horrible? Yeah, well, you don't even know
You haven't got a clue.
You don't even know the half of it, and you think we're terrible. If you ever heard us speaking privately, my God.
And if you think HR rules have stopped anything,
no. The way guys are, that's the thing. They say horrible things amongst each other.
Yeah.
It's a little bit better now if you're in a professional environment, but if guys are friends, they'll still say horrible things.
For sure.
If
there's trust in between them, forget it.
Gross.
Yeah.
What we're saying is none of us are nice.
No.
So
there's not a good one amongst
such a nice guy. No, he's not. Find the least terrible one of us if that's what you're looking for, and that's fine. But don't look for he's different. No, we're all disgusting, horrible people. Just terrible. Honestly, we're awful.
It's true.
It's so keep that in mind is all we're saying when you're out there. Just think gross. So anyway, all of us. Well, he would say to other ranch hands that he thought Virginia was kind of fine. It says
piece of ass.
Virginia's what was it in Money Pit? It's a good looking wool.
Gross. Oh, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
And Tom Hanks is like, well, he's a good plumber. He's a good looking wool. I don't know. It's a compliment.
God damn it.
So, he talks about this, but for lots of people, he'd say it about Virginia. If someone came, hey, look at this one over here. And do you see the one in town that works at the general store? And there's a hot piece of ass. He just says gross shit. This is what I mean. Not all guys are like this. No, that's the thing. There's always the guys that are way grosser where we roll our eyes at them when they're like, enough already. Jesus. The guy who comes along once in a while is like, did you see the fucking ass on her? Like,
oh, please. I've heard
guys say that. That's not.
Did you see the shit cutter on
That's what people say. Yeah.
The what?
You have no idea the terrible
fucking mind?
The terrible shit the guys say. But that's even mild though. That's just a mild thing. Then there's the guy who gets over gross about it. And you're like, all right, I don't want to talk to you. You're weird. The other guy you have to
a new guy to take my order. Who are you?
This is weird. The other guy you can ignore him for a minute and just be like, yeah, all right, whatever. Your knuckles are dragging, as Sarah would say, but relax. So it also the sister-in-law, Virginia's sister-in-law, one of the McLennan girls here, that her brothers were married to, Sue, he would say that she was a piece of ass. And so, I mean, these were the women that were around, and he's kind of a sleazy dude, and he says shitty things. So that's kind of, that's sort of in the realm of, average, I would say. I don't know if normal, but average anyway. So, one of the ranch hands said on at least one occasion, Gary Davis here was urinating toward the Mays house, urinating toward it. I don't know how close he came, or if it was just in the like a symbolic thing. Yeah. Like if you're praying toward Mecca, right? Like you can't see Mecca, but it's that direction, I guess.
You're in America, for Christ's sake.
You're way far away, but it's that. I don't know if that's what it was. I'm peeing in that direction.
Peeing towards Mecca.
Yeah, you're peeing towards Mecca.
Go on.
Toward Mays, Mecca. Apparently, he said on more than one occasion, quote, "Come on, Virginia, baby, I'm here. Come to me," while he's pissing. So
what does that even?
I don't know. I don't know if he wants to pee on her or if just the mere fact that his penis is out makes him think of that she would maybe want to come watch him pee. I'm not sure.
Virginia, there's no buffer between me and wind.
Look at this. It's just a weird.
The sun's touching it.
Yeah, so I think it's time to find out who the hell Gary Lee Davis is.
I would love to know.
This guy is a weird dude who comes around, meets people at church, and then pees in their direction when they get him jobs. Yeah. So let's talk about Gary Davis. A couple of things here. There's some good facts that most of this information comes from. There's a lot of court documents here that were really well put together. Really, the Colorado's good at keeping track of shit. Yeah. Some states their court documents they're
very focused in Colorado because they're fucking stoned.
They're stoned and they're like, no, dude, we got to put everything in. No, if we put that in, dude, fucking 1, 2, come on, man. Got footnotes, brother. Let's do this. So, they're really good at it. But some of these facts I didn't find anywhere except for one article. Yeah. I mean, there was a ton of stuff, but some of these were very specific to this article. So this person must have done some investigating. So I want to give them credit. It's called The Twisted Life of Gary Davis by Alan Prendergast at westword.com. Word, like a word. So anyway, just some of this is from that, but there's enough to where I think this guy found it. So he should get credit for it. But Gary Lee Davis here, he's born in Wichita, Kansas. He's raised by his mother. He's born Gary Lee Garer. So he's not Davis when he's born. He's born in 1944. Yeah, Garer.
His name is Gary Garer?
Gary Garer.
Ugh.
Why'd you name him Gary?
Fuck?
It's the law. We have to name all the kids Gary.
Oh.
Jesus. So,
what do you want? Jerry? Fine.
Fine. Jerry Garer. People will just call him Jerry Garer at that point because it'll be both. So, Jesus Christ. He has two brothers. He's the middle. Mm-hmm. He's the middle kid here. His mother remarried when he's 8 years old. Okay. So it's a real kind of a trashy, it's kind of like a 40s version of like us bouncing around. And like, it's just a little bit unstable, I would say. So his mother remarries when he's 8 years old here.
In Wichita?
In Wichita here. And that's to a guy named Davis.
Got it.
And that was back in the day when you got divorced and someone remarried, that was it. Yeah. You weren't part of them anymore.
No.
That was normal.
Yeah.
Like if you were the dad, you'd go make a new family, and then the woman would marry a guy, and those kids would call that guy dad. Yeah. And that was it. You didn't talk to dad anymore.
Well,
the shit was weird back then.
The guy that flicked me in the forehead, I had his last name for like 4 years. It was the weirdest thing.
That was an old thingy. That was an old timey thing.
You did.
That was super fucking weird.
And my last name would have been the same as our fucking agent. It's the weirdest, the worst last name on earth.
As one of our Joes?
Yeah. One of our Joes has the worst last name on earth.
Because of that.
Yeah.
Poor guy. At least he didn't write an E in electrical tape on his denim jacket. So
that poor fuck is stuck with it,
though. Jesus. So his mother marries Gary, and then he gets a new name, Gary Lee Davis, which he was probably happy about. It's like, this is way better than Garer. At least people can spell this. Davis is pretty simple. Gary Lee Davis. Yeah. It could be an offensive tackle or something, All-American. So they said that his father was just not around, as absent from then on. They called his stepfather was very aloof and didn't really pay much attention to him. There's other kids involved too. His stepfather has sons also.
Oh, Jesus.
So we're mixing in more kids into this mix. And they talk a lot about his grandfather was very strict. So that's the kind of upbringing, but nothing crazy that we have to hear about, like his grandfather beat him with a stick. Or like, like Charles Manson's grandfather put him in a dress and sent him to school and shit like that.
Manson's grandfather did that?
Oh, yeah. They were monsters to him.
Good God.
Told him he was weak and, since he's a girl, they were going to dress you like a girl and send him to school. And then everybody beat him up and picked on him. And, you can go down the road from there. How that works. You can see the psychology. You don't have to be a doctor to see how that plays out down the road for a person. So, one of his brothers, one of his biological brothers, described him as a kid, Gary as a kid, as a follower. He said he's a follower and he's a kid who, quote, couldn't be aggressive and, quote, wouldn't fight nobody.
Oh.
Which is, he was a kid who wasn't a big fighter. He wasn't an aggressive kid.
It sounds like a kid who's fucking looking for guidance. That's your
looking for guidance,
big brother. Yeah. That's your fucking fault.
Wouldn't fight nobody. So that's some kids are sensitive. Also, too, some kids don't go through puberty a little bit later, and so if some kid with a mustache picking on you when you haven't even hit puberty yet, that's a problem.
You're both 13 and this kid's got fucking...
Middle school's an issue like that. You have kids who are shaving every day and kids who look like they're 9 and going to the same school together.
Well, I had the opposite.
A 2-year difference.
I looked like I was 9 and then I had the chest hair of a 47-year-old man. It was ridiculous. It was so embarrassing to change my shirt in PE.
I had 7th and 8th grade were very different.
Really?
7th grade, I was not tall. I was of average height and fat and chubby, and then in 8th grade I was 6'2", and it was
chiseled.
It was weird. Over a summer, people were like, "What the fuck happened to you?" Literally, people didn't recognize me when I came. They're like, "What the hell happened to you? Oh my God, what the shit?" It was weird. Yeah, it was funny. So that's the type of thing that happens to you in middle school, though. It's better than high school, I guess, where they let's put a 14-year-old girl in with 19-year-old guys. That's fair, right? Yeah,
sounds good.
Perfect. Let's not. No. Let's split that shit up, please. Can we have 9th and 10th grade alone, 11th and 12th grade by themselves?
I'm fine with 9th grade school, 10th grade school.
Yeah, let's keep them all
separate
separated.
Buildings.
We can't have
in
this.
Separate areas of town.
Yeah,
fuck everything.
I keep all the elementary schools too. We don't care how far they are. It doesn't matter.
Fuck them. Keep them all apart.
Oh God.
Treat it like segregation, but worse.
Age segregation. So he bragged that he lost his virginity at age 12. He said that a friend of his mother put him on, for lack of a better term here. When he was 12, he dropped out of school in the 9th grade. Well, He was already getting ass.
Why go?
Shit.
Who cares?
He comes in a robe with a pipe in his mouth one day going, "Gentlemen, do you know what's out there?"
I'm banging 40-year-olds. Why are we here?
It's wonderful. And he puffs. Have a good day.
It's very warm and wet. I have to leave.
His friends are like, "Is he wearing slippers?" Dude's got slippers on. This is crazy.
I think he had initials on the toes.
It's weird. They're monogrammed. So he drops out in the 9th grade. He joins the Marine Corps in 1961. So joins the Marines. Kind of a bad time to join the Marines because in a couple years they're going to be the ones who are first people to go to Vietnam. So maybe not the best foresight there. He marries a woman right after boot camp, does Marine camp boot. And this 61, this is like how you do life. Yeah. Your name is Gary.
Yeah.
And you go to boot camp. And then when you're done with boot camp, you marry your high school sweetheart, which he doesn't have a high school sweetheart because he didn't go to high school. But you marry your teenage sweetheart and then she gets base housing and all that shit. And that's how it works. And you get a white picket fence.
You knock her up and you jump on a bomber all the way to Vietnam.
Yeah, you knock her up, you drink every night, you hit her when she does shit that you don't like. She never says anything about it. The kids grow up thinking that they don't know why mom and dad go in the room and yell quietly in a weird way. They hear banging sometimes, but they'll figure it out when they're 40 in therapy. This is what happened in 1961. That was life. And then when you had postpartum, they'd say, "Cheer up, bitch. I don't know what to tell you." Not a good time to be anybody. It was, say, a woman or a man. It was a terrible time to be anybody, but mainly a woman.
Or your husband will beat you.
Yeah, cheer up, bitch, and then he'd give you the back of his hand, and you're like, doctor. It's like, what? That didn't work? I don't know.
Clearly you're not getting it at home.
Maybe if you cooked something, maybe that would help. Maybe if you threw something in the oven and had it ready,
to think.
maybe you'd have it ready by the time your husband got home. Then maybe you'd feel better about yourself. You know what I mean? Also, you could drop a couple pounds. You know what I'm talking about, sweetheart? All right, pats her on the ass. Have a good one. She's like, that was a doctor.
Tear it on up.
I just paid him for that. What the fuck is going on in this world?
I just paid to be verbally abused and then sexually assaulted.
And then sexually assaulted. Yeah. Thanks, Doc. So
appreciate you on the copay.
And she has to tell all her friends, oh, he's the best.
He's so good.
He's gentle.
Very gentle.
Yeah.
Not even a red mark.
Not a good time to be a woman, exactly. He marries a woman named Tanya Ann Tatum. So Gary Lee Davis and Tanya Ann Tatum here. And they have 2 sons out of this relationship because obviously he's a guy that should be guiding young lives, it sounds like already. Now, he shipped out to Okinawa eventually, stationed over there. And this is when his relationship with Tanya starts to falter because he is really jealous.
Really?
Excessively jealous. He suspects that Tanya is cheating on him because he's in Okinawa, and who knows. So he begins drinking heavily while he's over there, just in terms of, I mean, a lot of guys started drinking in the military, and he's coping too on top of that and all that. So, but he drinks real hard to the point where 1961 Marines go, that's too much drinking, which is a lot of drinking. If you
guys with like a whiskey drip are like, fuck's wrong with you, bro?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like, he needs help.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all drunks and everything, but that guy needs help, you know? So even the Marines said, no, you're a little messed up here. So apparently he was drunk and running around base there talking about bayoneting one of his officers.
Oh my God.
So at that point they said, let's get you in and sit you down and have a chat with somebody. And they diagnosed him as having homicidal tendencies and, quote, emotional and unstable personality with schizoid trends.
That's a guy I want in Vietnam.
That's not a guy they wanted in the Marines, though. They were like, you can go now. You, sir.
Yeah.
You know,
certainly fuck off out of here.
Yeah, we don't want to be responsible for whatever you do.
No.
And which was probably good. He's going
to kill a bunch of people and then asterisks.
He's going to asterisk hard after that. Or he's going to cause people to want to asterisk, either one. So they discharge him medically, and he's sent home. So that can't be, I got sent home because I'm a drunk who threatens to bayonet commanding officers.
I'm a drunk with homicidal tendencies.
Yeah, I've been labeled too homicidal for the Marine Corps, whose only job is to kill people.
Right.
Literally stated, their fucking mission statement is super set at the top of the kill people.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't build shit.
No.
Don't fix shit.
No.
And we're not saying anything out of turn. They're all nodding their heads and are listening now. They're going, that's what we do. That's the business model. That's the business plan.
Kill
there.
them all. Let God sort them out. That was one of the fucking. Isn't that from Full Metal Jacket?
I think it is, but it was on one of their helmets. But it's an old thing. I'm sure
it's for real.
It's probably from the
They
World
had it
War
on their
I,
helmet. Yeah, because they fucking said it.
Yeah, but I mean, in the Marine Corps meeting, they were like, well, I mean, what's our objectives here? Kill people.
Yeah.
Okay, then what?
Did I give you a gun?
We just walk away.
All right.
We don't like clean them up or do anything like
God, no.
No.
Jesus,
no. What if we need like a place to hang out in?
Do you hear me?
Do we build that or?
No, we kill them.
If they show up and build, people show up and build, do we kill them? Maybe.
Possibly. Depends on the uniform.
We're just killing people. So too homicidal for them. That's the perspective we want to give you of how nuts he is. They want a little nuts, I'm sure, but not quite that nuts. Now, he would say later on, he comes home and he starts working as a cook, as a meat cutter, starts working in a factory, whatever menial job he can get, whatever entry-level job he can get. He's unemployed a lot also. He has a bunch of car accidents. He has an industrial accident where he hurts himself.
James,
and he
drinks.
That's the thing. He's hammered all the time. He gets a couple DUIs during the 60s.
Yeah.
Also, urinating in public charge. So that's a fun one.
And back then, if you got caught once, it's like roaches. You did it thousands of times.
You're pissing everywhere.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? His pee is just, it's like a river flowing down the street, I'm sure.
It is flammable.
So his wife leaves him and takes the kids at this rate because he's just a mess and he's unemployed. He's an alcoholic. He's pissing in the streets. Mm-hmm. It's a disaster. They're fearing asterisk and they're just going to leave. So he says later on, he claims that this is really why the marriage failed. It wasn't because I was, an unemployable drunk. Yeah. That's not why. It actually failed because I was traveling around the country as a highly paid male stripper. So he tells his friends that. And she couldn't handle it, obviously, because, I'm a sexy guy, Jimmy. That's what it is. Gary, sorry. I'm sorry, Gary.
How does Gary land on that?
I'm a very sexy guy, Gary. But he did at one point in the late 60s. Yeah. This is so weird. He worked as part of a nightclub comedy act. They're not like a stand-up, but like a sketch, I guess, type thing.
Improv shit?
I suppose. He played a go-go dancer in drag.
What the fuck?
So he played like I'm sure he had like the little 60s go-go dress and the high boots.
John Candy with the fruit on his hat and shit. Do you remember that?
John Candy with the fruit on his hat.
John Candy?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
From the fucking HBO shows.
I'm thinking the go-go dancer is probably the short skirt with the high boots.
Or the short shorts.
The high boots that the go-go dancing 60s girl.
No.
That's what he was dressed as. So that's that. He did that, but which means he's got he's not a real stiff.
No.
He's not like
he knows how to be fun.
Yeah, he's not a prude.
Right.
Any guy in the 60s who'll put a dress on and go on stage and dance around to do that, they're more loose than most guys. Most guys aren't putting a damn dress on. And so, he's got some sort of whatever. But, the fact that his marriage fell apart because he's a highly paid traveling male stripper seems a little on the...
That's a wild story.
It is wild. Now, on the other hand, it does make sense that he will whip his cock out at a moment's notice.
He doesn't care.
So there is that.
Yeah.
He said, quote, "When I got older, early 20s, I found myself going around showing myself to women wherever I could. I'd show myself, and after the woman would see me, I'd find somewhere to jerk off." So that was his whole deal. Oh, that's very illegal. You can't just whip your cock out and start jerking it at people. He said, "At this time, I had a beautiful wife at home, but I needed the excitement in my life."
What the fuck?
So he's messed up.
Yeah.
He's got an issue. Clearly, that's kind of bubbling up.
Sexually oriented too. That's fucking crazy.
He's got a weird shit. Now, 1970, he is convicted for grand larceny in Kansas, and in 1971, he's convicted for burglary in Kansas. So he's starting to. His unemployment possibly is causing him to steal shit, and probably alcoholism isn't helping. Right. And I'm sure whipping your dick out isn't. I don't know how that would hurt, but it's not helping.
And it's
That's
occupying
what I mean.
your time that you could be putting in applications.
If you're thinking about who should I whip my dick out and show when you should be applying for jobs, it's a good point, Jimmy. I think you got inside his psyche there for a minute.
It's certainly slowing your fucking productivity.
Well, if you have an application in one hand and your cock in the other, and you don't know which one to hand the lady, you're not getting the job. Put it that way.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. Feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in Spot Me and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Which one of these will get me hired on?
Back to the unemployment line.
Neither, sir. Thank you. Jesus Christ. So finally, though, his wife leaves. They get divorced. He's grand larceny, burglary, not doing wonderful. And in 1974, he's 30 years old, and he finds another woman to marry, Leona Coates. They get married. At the time they're married, he is 30 and she is 17. So
what the fuck?
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's super weird. I don't care if you're 19. Yeah. It's weird to marry a 17-year-old. Yeah. Where is your anything? Yeah. Where's your grandma? I don't give a shit. Where's your aunt? Where's somebody?
Where's your older sister to say no?
Anybody to say don't marry this 30-year-old guy who got kicked out of the Marine Corps for being too homicidal and pees everywhere.
Where's the judge going, I'm not signing this.
I will not.
I can't do it.
17. This was Kansas, though, so I'm sure she was an old maid then.
It's too late.
They're like, you should have a couple of kids by now, shouldn't you? They're like, let's get going here.
What's going on, loser?
Well, she gets right on that because in the next few years, they're going to have 4 kids. They're going to pump out 4 kids in a matter of very, very little time, matter of 4 or 5 years. So that's a lot of kids. So now later on, Gary is going to claim that Leona was pregnant when he met her.
Okay.
He says they're pregnant when he met her and that he shouldn't have married her. It was quote, a big mistake. And he stayed with her because, Jesus Christ, you just know this guy from, come on, Virginia, come to me with the piss. And then this, I stayed with her because, quote, she kept shelling out kids. So, yeah.
That's you, dude.
They don't appear in her womb magically. She's not the Virgin Mary. This isn't an immaculate thing. Probably you get drunk, forget to pull out, and then she gets pregnant and you have kids. That's how that works here. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Simply Safe.
Oh, SIMPLI safe.com.
You know it, but did you know this? On average, it takes police 45 minutes to respond to a home security alarm.
I've heard that.
That's way too long. When a home security system's triggered, the police, what they do is assume it's a false alarm, and the call goes to the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
It's not like an active thing to them, but not with Simply Safe home security. This is much different because Simply Safe has video verification technology that helps police to get to the scene up to 3.5 times faster, making their average police response time just 7 minutes. 45 minutes, 7 minutes.
Much quicker.
It's a huge difference. That's one reason why Simply Safe home security is so different. Simply Safe also protects every door, window, and room with 24/7 professional monitoring starting at just $15 a month. You can't beat that. Their prices are always fair and honest. There's no contract, no hidden fees, no fine print. It's won a ton of awards from CNET to the New York Times Wirecutter. Visit simplysafe.com/small and you'll get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. You've got nothing to lose. Just go now and be sure you go to Simply Safe. That's SIMPLI safe.com/small so they can know that we sent you. That's simplysafe.com/small.
And now back to the show.
Hey, Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about another show on the Parcast Network, Today in True Crime.
I've heard of this.
You've heard of it, and it's good. It's a good show because you remember certain things. You remember dates. You remember your birthday.
Yeah.
You remember you have an anniversary.
I remember that.
Christmas. Who doesn't remember Christmas? You know what? These are dates that you remember in your head. The Parcast Network, though, they remember different types of dates. They remember important dates in true crime history.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. Today in True Crime is a new daily podcast that takes you back to the biggest events in true crime history and tell you what happened in each of these days.
Daily.
It's daily. It's a daily thing. What happened today in true crime history? So August 31st, let's say, coming up in a couple days here, 1888, Jack the Ripper commits the first murder. Things like that. October 3rd, 1995, O.J. Simpson's acquitted.
How about that?
Things like that. And then they'll go into it. November 19, 2007, Charles Manson dies. You hear about that. So all these dates, they come up and there's always something. Crime never stops. There's always something. With new episodes each day, you'll never run out of true crime content again, and you'll no longer have to wait weeks to get your fix. Crime never takes a day off, and now neither does Parcast. Follow Today in True Crime for free on Spotify and anywhere you listen to podcasts.
And now back to the show.
Heath said, quote, I really thought I was doing her a favor. He called himself Old Soft-Hearted Gary.
Yeah.
So just a soft-hearted
Soft-hearted, hard cock.
So I got a soft heart, but my cock is rock hard. That's his motto. Gary, soft heart, hard cock.
It's written on the back of his jacket.
Vote for Gary. Yeah, written on his jacket and duct tape. Vote for Gary. Gary, 2020. Soft heart, hard cock. Thumb up. So,
big smile.
Big smile. So 1979 comes around here, and he gets in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
And he should have gotten in more trouble, I feel like. This is the type of thing that back then was taken less seriously, and I feel like now I hope would be taken more seriously. I don't know, but there's a convenience store in Baca County, I think it's in Kansas, and he lures a young female clerk out of the store who works there, saying that he needed help with those ice machines that are outside at those rural gas stations, and you grab it.
You got a fucking padlock on it.
Yeah, and you tell him, and so he says he needed help with the ice machine.
Yeah.
She gets outside. Once she gets outside, he holds a knife to her neck.
Oh boy.
And drags her into an alley. So this is terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, she struggles and escapes, getting minor cuts to her hand and her throat as she in the struggle. As she escapes and gets away, he's charged with menacing.
What?
Which is a felony. But menacing, I don't think covers it.
No.
This is not menacing.
No.
Menacing would be like if he went and cut her car tire and then kicked her window out and smacked her in the face
and
creepy
note.
Yeah, grabbed a boob and ran away or something lightly. I don't know. That's still sexual assault, but menacing. This is
what do you? Is that attempted murder?
I would call this attempted.
Robbery?
See, that's the thing. I'd say attempted kidnapping.
Armed robbery at minimum. Yeah,
he didn't take anything, but attempted kidnapping.
It's absolutely kidnapping.
She didn't want to go in an alley.
From somewhere to another against her will. That's kidnapping.
I think.
No, that's absolutely kidnapping.
That's kidnapping.
With the fucking deadly weapon.
To a woman's throat, for Christ's sake. One slip, he could have killed this woman.
I'm not a cop or a lawyer, but that
sounds like attempted kidnapping. Sounds like he tried to drag. It's just basic English. Attempted kidnapping. He attempted to kid. If you watched that play out, you go, that guy tried to kidnap her. He attempted to kidnap her. Lucky for her, she got away.
I would say that is kidnapping because he moved her from location to location. She just happened to get free before he got her to the other location.
That's more on her than him. Yeah. That's credit her, not him. So anyway, he's arrested, and apparently, I don't know what he might have initially been arrested for kidnapping or something like that, but he eventually pleads guilty. Okay. So that's going to be usually a lesser charge. It's still a felony, but it's felony menacing. So he basically, it's nothing. It's a probation type thing. He goes to jail for a month or some shit like that. It's not anything that puts him off the street for a while or forces him into counseling or anything like that. Of course, it's 1979, so I don't know how good that would have been anyway. But in 1982, it escalates here. This time, there's a 15-year-old girl who is the daughter of one of Leona's friends. So this is a daughter of one of his wife's friends. He claimed the girl only, this is for sexual assault. He's arrested. He claims the girl only reported him because he promised her $300 for sex, and then they had sex, and then he didn't and give her $300. Well, so then she reported him. Either way, you had sex with a 15-year-old. Right. She's not reporting.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, she's not reporting theft of services. No. She's reporting that you fucked a 15-year-old.
She's reporting that you fucked children, sir, and you did that.
So apparently she's saying it was against her will because he didn't pay her the promised $300.
She's not allowed to agree.
No, she's not allowed. A, she just can't even enter into a legal contract at that age. And B, especially one for payment for sex. I feel like especially not that. That's probably first on the list of shit you're not allowed to enter into.
It's a pretty bad defense, sir.
It's a bad defense, yeah. The prosecutors, though, say that Davis pulled a knife on her and raped her. That's what the prosecutors say. And he goes, she was all up for it for $300. Because he's drunk. $300, it was fine. But then I say no money, and then Gary's not good anymore. I don't think so.
Ask her if she came. Ask her.
That should clear it up.
Ask her if I was good.
I'll be going now. See you guys later.
I'm going to go home.
That clears it up. So this time, this is a sexual assault. He's charged with first-degree sexual assault.
Good Lord.
He enters a guilty plea for this and manages a plea bargain here. This is crazy. He gets to... He somehow pulls out a plea bargain where it's an 8-year sentence for sexual assault, which means that he could be out of prison in less than 4 years with good behavior and no fuckery in jail. So this is
nothing.
He's escalated. Yeah. He pulled a girl in with a knife, and now there's this. And if it happened the way the girl said, he raped a 15-year-old girl at knife point.
That's terrible.
Which is as bad as you can be. I mean, that's awful here. So corrections officers, while he's in prison, say he's a model prisoner.
Yeah.
Say he kept to himself. He even he earned the privileges and all that. He went through. He did all the alcohol treatment programs they had available and all that sort of thing. He said, everything was he was a model citizen there, they called him. He began to really get into the pen pal scene here. As you know from the prisoner dating game here, they have certain pitches. Listen to the prisoner dating game bonus episode. It's in the feed.
They're good at it.
They have pitches to reel you in. Yeah. And he begins to find a bunch of female pen pals. He's good at this shit. There's a day in prison here where one of his fellow inmates gives him a woman's address, a woman named Rebecca Fincham, who is a lonely woman. She is described as a lonely woman who answered this other inmate's personal ad in a newspaper. So that's really lonely. She's answering personal ads of inmates in the newspaper. So Davis here, Gary, begins to also write her. Now, she wrote back. Rebecca Fincham writes back, says, I have 2 young daughters, and she's married to a drunk, and she's unhappy, and blah blah blah. He's given her she's using him as a sounding board,
right?
And he's using her as
he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
So to this for a while.
That's the thing. He said, and he would say, "Oh, that's really terrible," and they would have nice conversations back and forth. After a few letters, in one of the paragraphs, she just says, "Do you miss sex?" out of nowhere. So this being in prison.
Oh boy.
He says, "No, the guy I'm in a cell with is hot stuff." I'm telling him. He says,
"Miss it. I'm having more now than ever."
Oh, miss it? Hell no. I'm out of lube. I run out.
I'm in my prime.
I have to pick up extra jobs just for lube money. That's where I'm at right now. So he says that yes, obviously he missed it, and so things go from there to things turn just insanely sexual with their letters from that. It goes from, your marriage and my dad's this and that to, going to do terrible things. So sexually explicit letters, let's say here. So,
I go to the Church of Christ. My husband's a drunk. Do you ever eat asshole? Do you ever do that?
Want to do that? Because you're gonna.
Because I love it.
I like it. Well, we find out about Rebecca Fincham here. Her and her husband, apparently, her husband was in the army, and they were stationed in West Germany, and they were involved in a bunch of wife swapping over there and shit like that. I mean, it was the 70s, and that was kind of a thing.
Don't do
but
that.
they're wife swapping swapping, and the husband always said it was her idea. This wasn't his idea. This is what she wanted.
Wow.
This Rebecca Fincham, and apparently she got back to the United States, and she was telling Gary about all of her sex toys that she has, and all sorts of shit like that. And nowadays, big deal. Women have sex toy parties where they come over and they're like, look at this great dildo, I'm going to stick in my twat later. And they're like, awesome, I want to stick it in my... It's crazy. It's the weirdest thing.
Look at this one. It vibrates and twists.
Guys don't get together with their pocket whatevers and they're like, look at this.
I don't want you to know what I got.
No, we don't get... These women are very open about it, which is fine. Gay, get yourself
you ever
off.
seen a thruster? That is impressive.
They hook shit up to power tools now. They don't give a fuck. There's whole things.
There are things that will fuck a woman and she can do it hands-free.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't even have to touch it. It
there's
just
all sorts
thrusts.
of things.
It's crazy.
That's a big market, we'll just say. In 1982, not that way at all.
It was just the white hard one.
And it was sold as a shoulder massager in like the medical section of a drugstore.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what it was. You couldn't go on, just a website and order a bunch of dildos. Oh, this one's got a clit. Oh, this is better. This will tickle me. No, this was just very basic.
Yeah.
So she's got a bunch of European kinky sex shit going on here.
Okay.
So she's telling him about that, and he's like, fuck yeah, Gary's in jail going, this is great. He's telling people, I got this kinky ass woman on the outside. She's wife swapping, and she's got sex toys and all this cool shit. He's like, this is pretty fucking awesome. He was psyched about this. He's like, this is my woman.
Oh, boy.
I want her. But then she came and started visiting him. And he said that she did not live up to what he wanted. And he said that he did not like her at all once she showed up. He describes her as obese and seeming to be missing her eyebrows.
Oh.
So I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
I mean, why? Like, shaved off or tattooed or what's going down?
I'm not. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. She also had scars all over her arms.
Yeah.
And she's told her that they were a result of an assault that had happened to her on an army base years before.
Okay.
So we don't know what happened there. He said that he thought she was repulsive and said, quote, he was, quote, scared of her because she was so overweight, which... Relax, dude.
Chill out, dude.
Chill the fuck out. So, scared of her because she's so. What are you scared of? Idiot.
He's scared of her pussy might be bigger.
Oh, God. Look at it.
Jesus. It's right in your face.
I prefer a 15-year-old girl against her will. You fucking kidding me? At least she's an adult and willing, you asshole. Who cares? So, God damn it, people are assholes. So, but for him, for a guy in prison, this is great. He gets crazy, sex letters. She bought him a TV for prison. She's buying him all sorts of shit. She gets a divorce while he's in there. She visits him every weekend. She brings her daughters with her.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. She gives him about $20 a week to put in his, account so he can fucking have some shit in prison.
Yeah.
She's taking care of him basically. And
sure.
$20 in prison in 1982 is a lot of money. So she's taking care of him big time. And he's like, this is great. I mean, I got to hang on to her at least for prison. Doesn't matter if I'm attracted to her or not. This is everything I need in prison. But during one day in 1984, she comes to visit and he asks her to marry him. I don't know what that's about. She wants to marry him. So she says yes. And so they're married over the phone by a minister. So that's how that works.
That is prestigious.
And, and at that point, her daughters begin calling him daddy.
Sweet Pete, why?
From prison.
Why would you do it?
Call this guy. Well, when he calls collect, make sure you say, okay, daddy, I'll accept the charges. What the fuck are you doing?
No.
Oh, my God. Good Lord. Her
poor woman.
That's what I mean. So not long after this, another inmate because, the inmates see each other during visits. A lot of people meet people from the outside during visits from other people. I hear that all the time.
The only time they get to run into them.
Yeah. And the people who are coming to visit are interested in prisoners. So that's how it works. Apparently, they get married, and pretty soon after that, another inmate becomes one of his inmate people that he's locked up with, becomes interested in Rebecca Fincham's 13-year-old daughter.
Oh, no.
And asks Davis if he could write to her.
Fuck no, you cannot.
Neither he nor the mother have any objections to this.
What is going on?
They're like, absolutely.
Oh, Jesus.
You convicted criminal, please write to my 13-year-old daughter, because I'm sure this is all on the up and up. He won't corrupt her or anything. This will be great. So there's just terrible. This whole story is just terrible parenting.
This is just such bad decisions.
Awful. So Becky even sent a package here. Becky sent a package. This is Rebecca Fincham. Yeah. She sends a package here that has a topless photo of herself for Gary.
Good Lord.
Because that's just what he wants.
Yeah.
And a scantily clad semi-nude picture of her 13-year-old daughter for the inmate to jerk off to.
No.
Disgusting.
What is she doing?
Thankfully, the photos are intercepted by prison officials who said, you piece of shit asshole scumbag.
Yeah.
Is this a 13-year-old? Guess what? You're arrested for sexual exploitation of a minor, you fucking idiot.
The mom got arrested
for sending almost nude pictures of her daughter to prisoners.
Good.
You can't do that.
Good.
She's charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. Her visiting privileges are revoked.
Yeah.
And she ends up being put on 3 years of probation.
Wow.
So they make a big deal out of it.
Good.
It should have been a bigger deal.
Yeah.
They should have. I don't know if you can like slam somebody's arm in a car door as a but that seems like the type of offense where it's like, how do we make this stop?
Fucking head. What a jerk off.
So they would talk on the phone after that, Glenn and Becky here, Rebecca. They talked on the phone to keep it going. There was a game they had here where Glenn said the game involved Fincham trying to act out fantasies that he requested her to do. He would tell her shit to do.
Bend over the bed.
Put it in
from behind.
No. Different shit than that.
What?
And also, these are all on a prison phone, so God knows who is listening to your
tugging.
They don't give a shit. I think that made it more for them. Jesus Christ. Someone later on who interviews this, I love this, a psychologist said this later on who interviewed Gary. He says, quote, Mr. Davis indicated that he would like her to, quote, give head. There's a picture of this from a guy with tweed going on. Ms. Fincham then brought a male named Jay into the house and did this while the telephone receiver was off the hook so that Mr. Davis could hear.
Get the fuck. She blew a dude.
She blew a dude on the. Hold on. Take your pants off.
Jay, come here.
Hold on.
What?
I'm going to get my incarcerated husband on the phone. Take your pants off. Okay, good. Hold on. You there, honey? Okay. You got your dick out? Okay. I'm going to start
Here
now.
we go.
Everybody ready? Okay. And then you go, no, what the hell is going on here? No.
Couldn't you? I mean, at that point, you could just theater of the mind, just be like, I'm blowing him good.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Who knows? Swish some water around in your mouth a little bit.
Spit it on the floor.
Who
Be like,
cares?
you hear it splash? There was so much. Gobs of it.
Jesus Christ. I almost drowned. It was terrible. Okay. I'm going to get going now.
What is happening?
I'm going to get going now.
She has a
Johnny Carson's on.
She's a wall full of fake dicks. Can't you use those?
No, well, he doesn't want her to use those.
He needs real semen in her mouth.
Apparently so.
My Christ.
Then Mr. Davis reports that he had never met a woman who would say and do these kinds of things and that he found this very amazing. Yeah, because that's not normal.
Listen, it's 2019. I'm fucking amazed too, man.
Yeah, this was in 1985. I'm tripped out now
I'm
by
fucking
that.
Blown away.
This is wild. So,
how do you think Jay felt?
Yeah, Jay must have been like, "This is so weird and kinky."
Bananas.
Do you think she told him ahead of time what was up, or do you think she got him there and was like, "Shut up, I'm blowing you. What do you care who's on the phone?" And once his dick was out, he was like, I guess. I don't know.
What do you care who's on the
You know what I mean? He's like, I guess. He's like, no. She's like, no one's in the room. No one can see you. He's like, I suppose. I don't know.
Jay, I'm blowing you. There's going to be more going on. You just need to know I'm blowing you.
Eyes closed, dick out. Let's do this, pal. So, yeah.
From time to time, let out a grunt so they know it's you.
So, according to Gary here, Jesus, with the psychologist. Becky also described scenarios to him over the phone in lurid detail. These are imaginary scenarios about picking up and seducing men who look like Gary for some reason. I don't know what that would help. Picking up a woman at a lesbian bar and having sex with a female friend while the friend's husband watched. And also, she had fantasies of being raped by a prison guard for some reason. I don't know what that was. And they would go over these fantasies on the phone, and she would tell him that. And they had really cooking up this crazy fantasy sexual relationship with phone blowjobs and all sorts of weird shit. So he's paroled on July 22nd, 1985.
Yeah.
So he's out.
Oh, boy. And
now he's a convicted sexual assaulter, and she's got young daughters at home.
She's also a convicted sexual assaulter.
Yeah, but in order for him he can't live at her residence on parole for this with her daughters there, so she sends her daughters out of state to live with her parents. She sends her children away to keep this dirtbag in the house.
She chose him.
Yeah, I would say. Jesus Christ. Hardcore. First, she chose him when she sent a picture to prison of her daughter. And so they're both under court supervision. So he had to, not try to rape any teenagers or anything like that. That's a problem here. They get a job in Colorado managing an apartment complex in Aurora. It's an apartment house in Aurora.
Oh, my God.
These are the people that get a job managing the storage facility that we talked about. Yeah. It's a big storage building that those people live in behind the office.
Oh, it's so creepy.
This is the couple that lives behind the office, because who the hell else would do that? They have to have nowhere to go.
You know when you go get your shit out of storage and you got to talk to people that work there? Those fucking people live there.
Did we not talk about that on the show?
No, we talked about it while we were driving.
Okay.
Where were we going? I don't know.
It was Columbus to Cleveland.
Right.
Yeah, there's those self-storage and all that, and you go in and you pay your bill or whatever, and you have to wait a minute for somebody to meander out of the back in a bathrobe.
Right.
They have a bathrobe on because they live there.
Right.
They live in the back behind the office with all the room with all the surveillance monitors. Behind there, these people have a sad air mattress that they keep on the floor. And
a fucking toilet that looks terrible.
Because
it's stained.
Because they're both these people. Right. Sexual assaulting weirdos. So, Jesus, I forgot. I thought we talked about that on the show. That's funny.
They live like that. That's their, oh boy.
My God. So, they're managing an apartment house, so that's okay. Yeah. Gary doesn't drink as hard right now. He's chilling out on the drinking a little bit, but he also is physically just disgusted by his wife, Becky. He's still like that. He still hasn't just said, "Hey, she's nice to me." Right. She's willing to blow guys on the phone for my entertainment. Let's go on the extra mile, Chief. You should just fucking be happy with what you got here.
And she didn't come to you as like a fucking supermodel and then just sat and pushed Twinkies down her throat.
You know what she was. Yeah, she had no eyebrows when you met her.
Right.
That's what happened.
The eyebrows were sans eyebrows.
They're not going to grow back because of your love. It's not going to happen. So,
and if she's a bigger girl when you met her and she's still bigger, then you can't be disgusted.
Well, let's see what he said. He said, quote, "That's you saying this is almost like a direct response to what you said." He said, quote, "I thought when I married Becky that I could overlook her being so fat." So he then said, quote, "She had a place for me to come out to, and I knew I would not be lonely, but I was wrong. I was lonely even with her. I took up drinking again to fill the empty void in my life. I also drank to have the stomach to touch that fat broad." Wow. That's what he said. That is his quote.
He thinks he's better than her.
He's a real nice guy.
Wow.
Oh, he thinks he's way better than her.
Unreal.
He thinks I have to really work at it to be able to touch you because you're gross.
You raped a 15-year-old at knife point, you idiot.
But I can still look down at people, Jimmy. That's
no, sir.
But she's physically unattractive. That's
everything
his
about
thought.
You is repulsive. I wouldn't care if this motherfucker looks like
thought.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit.
I would say so. So, this is awful. He says that, quote, "Yes, I was impotent while drinking and around Becky toward our last months together. To be blunt, it was damn hard to even get a hard-on when Becky would give me a blowjob. I just didn't have any feelings for her." So he's also shit-faced drunk and just a bad person. Yeah. I think that helps too. Yeah.
I mean,
sorry. Karma will keep hard-ons from you, I think, maybe.
Isn't that weird?
That's what it is, possibly. I'm not sure. So it's at this point that he starts getting interested in a woman that lives in the apartment house, a female tenant who he thought was hot, you know, he wanted her. And he told a buddy of his, he goes, see that girl over there? You know what I'd like to do? And normally this is, yeah, man, I'd like to, whatever. Right. And they say some shit. This is, I've never heard anyone say to me, because I would do something. I don't know what, because I'd be so shocked by it. But he said, see that girl? I really want to drug and rape her.
He said that.
He told that to another person.
What?
Those are thoughts you keep to yourself if you have. You don't tell other, because 99.9% of the people you tell are not going to go, fuck yeah. They're going to be like, I was thinking the same. Most people are going to go, what the fuck did you just say?
One more
Seriously? Or they're going to go, okay, and they're never going to talk to you again.
Excuse me, I got to go make a phone call.
Yeah.
To the fucking, did you just drug and rape her?
That's what he said. I'd like to drug and rape her.
You may as well just tell me I'm going to skin and wear her.
Yeah, I'm going to wear her like a new coat, I think. That's what I'm going to do. It's terrible.
Jesus.
So at this point, his wife here, Becky, becomes suspicious of him and says that he wants to know where he is and all this sort of thing. She also would start. She told it's really weird. She told him that she would make him dye his hair different colors all the time. And she said, and he said, quote, I think it made her feel like she was out with someone different all the time.
Yeah.
This is like a guy making a chick put wigs on or some shit. It's weird.
She likes sex with different dudes. That's just her thing. It's exciting to her.
That's
good for
the thing.
her. Fucking, you got a woman who wants to fuck all the time. Play along.
Just do it, dude. I mean, you're gross too.
You're a terrible man.
You're all awful. So everyone is awful, everyone. Okay. So they do end up getting fired and booted out of the apartment house after about 6 months. They're accused of stealing from tenants, taking money for services and repairs that they didn't do. They were lying and drinking and also talking about weird sex shit to tenants and stuff like that.
Oh, Jesus.
It was, people were complaining, basically. So Becky ends up... Jesus Christ.
My refrigerator's leaking.
Yeah.
Do you know what Gary did to me last night?
Let me tell you something. So now Becky answers the ad for a ranch hand, and there's conflicting reports of whether Virginia met them at church and got them the job, or they got the job and then met Virginia at church. Okay, we're not sure, but either way, it happened. Like one happened on a Saturday and the next day was Sunday, or vice versa. So they all happen so close, it really doesn't matter either way. Either way, to get the job on this ranch, they faked a resume that claimed they'd been married for 16 years and had extensive farm experience. So the whole 16 years, all we've been doing is farming and ranching. I worked for Joe Farmer. I know farming. So this is all a lie, obviously. Neither of them do shit. So they get the job. They go to Byers, and they get there, and this is a small, like, little church town with ranchers, and things are spread out. Not real big in, like, the, kinky sex scene.
Right.
Not a lot of wife swapping happening and shit like that around here. So, Davis would have to go in and to stare at other women. He'd go into town and look at other women, and Becky would come with him. And, while they were out looking at women, they would talk about kidnapping women and turning them into sex slaves. This is like their thing some couples talk about, what are we going to do with the yard? Yeah. That flower bed out front, I was thinking this, or, we should really change this out about the house, or what do you think about patio furniture?
Yeah, the chick that was looking at tomatoes looks good.
We should turn her into a sex slave while holding her against her will. That's
what the fuck?
Not normal. So in May of '86, they go to a store in Fort Morgan, and they buy a .22 caliber semi-automatic rifle here. Now he's on parole, so he's not supposed to have it, but nobody gives a shit. Yeah, nobody cares. Yeah. She's on probation. He's on parole. Nobody gives a shit. It's a big shoulder shrug from this whole thing. She might be off probation by now, because it was like 83, 84. This is 86, so not positive. So he said, too, if anybody asks what we have the rifle for, just say we live on a ranch. There's a ton of snakes around there, which there are. Yeah. Say it's a .22 rifle for snake shooting in case they're around the house. Okay. Which they all have .22 rifles for shooting snakes around there, apparently. Now, meanwhile, back at the ranch, literally, here, so it's Gary and Becky living on the ranch next to the Virginia and her husband Gary May, them. So they're at the ranch, and in this one, in the court document, I love this. It says, quote, their sexual relationship failed to improve after Davis took the ranch hand job, which is strange because it's a known fact that nothing gets an old marriage back on track like some hard ranching. Everyone knows you walk in with that smell of shit and it's an aphrodisiac, and next thing you know, candles are lit and bathtubs are being filled, and it's just rose petals. And
I mean, when you light candles to drown out the shit smell, it's bound to get the pussy going.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's bound to get the pussy going. Now, when you do that, it's bound to get the pussy going. Just an old man telling you that. Also, they began renting porn movies, videos back then, obviously. So they were going into that little, like the little saloon doors or the little curtain into the back of the video store.
The green curtain.
Yeah, and they would cruise around looking for, quote, a pretty girl. That's what they were doing. So they drove around Fort Morgan looking for women, and at one point, they said they were going to pick them up and we should keep them as sex slaves and all that sort of shit. July 18th, 1986. As we know with all these type of people, too, not all these type of people, but people who end up following through on crazy shit like this, fantasies escalate. Yeah. They get more deeper and more. And, July 18th, 1986. There's a woman named Tammy Beauprez. She lives on a farm about 10 miles outside of Wiggins, Colorado. She's visited by a man and a woman together driving a green 4-door sedan with Kansas license plates. And the car pulls into her driveway. The woman in the car asks directions to Byers, Colorado, and asks this woman if her husband's home, which is an odd question. Yeah. What do you need exactly? Like help lifting something or... Like, do you need directions?
I just need to know where I'm going, and then also,
are you alone?
Are you vulnerable?
Are you vulnerable right now? So, at one point, Tammy Beauprez stood next to the car, and the man in the car apparently got out and maneuvered himself, what she said, into a position behind her. So it's at this point that her husband came out of the house.
Hell yeah.
And once he came out of the house, this guy in the car, who is Gary Davis, popped back in the car and said, thanks for the directions. Have a good one. Yeah. And they fucking peeled out quickly with a cloud of dust behind them. And they do end up saying from the license plate and everything, it's Becky and Gary Davis here. So the next Monday, here, this is the last week of parole for Gary. So he's celebrating no more parole here. And as they're celebrating, Becky Davis calls Sue McClellan, who is Virginia's sister-in-law, as one of the ladies that he would make sexually explicit comments about to the other ranch hands, and asks her, just calls her up and says, is your husband home? Which I guess if she wants to talk to him, that would make sense. But otherwise, who cares? Right. So this Sue McClellan answered that he's not home. So Becky offers to come by and drop off some used clothes, which might be of use to her children. So basically, this McClellan's got a bunch of kids. She said, well, I have a bunch of used kids' clothes for my little girls. I was going to throw them out or give them to Goodwill or whatever. If you want them, I'll drop them off here. And so she says, all right, I guess, what the hell? So they leave the house. They go over to Sue's house. No children's clothes anywhere in sight, obviously. They do have a rifle, but they don't have any kids' clothes. It's different. They pull into her driveway, and they, at that point, see that there's a ranch hand there, a male ranch hand. And at that point, Becky says to Sue, quote, I thought your husband wasn't home. And she said, no, that's a ranch hand, whatever, but he hangs out and stays nearby. So they just sit by Sue. Becky drinks iced tea with Sue for a couple minutes. Gary stays in the car. But Becky and Sue shoot the shit. I don't know what her excuse for, I didn't bring those clothes that I called you and said I was going to bring. I don't know what she pulled out of her ass for that, but they drank some iced tea. So very polite. So after that, they get in the car and they say, you know what? We were going to kidnap this fucking Sue, but that damn ranch hand was there. So never mind. Let's take off. Okay. So they leave. Now, sometime that day between 6:20 and 7:00 p.m., they drive to the May residence, Virginia and Gary May. And earlier, Becky called Virginia and said, hey, I have some children's clothes you might want. I was going to donate them, but if you want them, I'll bring them. I can bring them over to you. And Virginia said, yeah, sure. So the Davises, Gary and Becky, drive over to the Mays house here. Virginia May comes out of the house to greet them. How's it going? Hi, very friendly. She has her 4-year-old daughter, Krista, with her.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Becky Davis gets out of the car and walks with Virginia around to the side of the tool shed they have. And then Gary drove his car down to the shed and got out. And at that point, before they do this, by the way, they take Krista. Becky ends up going, gets Krista some ruse to get Krista to run back in the house. Okay. So Krista does not go with them, the 4-year-old. This is just Virginia and Becky walk along to the side of the tool shed. Gary drives his car over to the tool shed also. It's at this point here. So now.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch and take you out back the tool shed.
And take it,
it's all working into this.
All coming into here. So Gary then gets out of the car and punches Virginia in the face and drags her into the car. Okay. Meanwhile, Becky at that point had gone around to make sure Krista stayed in the house, the child here. So once the kid's inside and everything like that, Gary and Becky take Virginia away in the car and drive away. Okay. This is not a good plan. So Becky Davis is driving, and apparently Gary was in the back holding Virginia down, and God knows what else he was doing to her. Who knows here? So they end up going to a secluded area out in the middle of nowhere. Now, in the car, he has taken her clothes off in the car. They end up he drags her out of the car by a rope tied around her neck.
Oh, Jesus.
That he's done to her. This is how fucking awful he is. And this next minute's going to be shitty. So it's bad. If you don't like, if you're sensitive, fast forward a minute or two.
This is bananas.
Because this is horrible. We'll get through it as quick as possible. But leads her out by a rope and is threatening her with a knife also, as if the rope wasn't enough here. And now he, at this point, they're not positive of the level of sexual assault, because like a lot of this type of guy who does these type of crimes, we don't know if he could perform or not.
Right.
Well, this is a lot of times it'll happen, and then they get angry at the fucking woman because they're impotent. So it's fucking insane.
So then he's just vicious about things.
Exactly. And that's
all kinds of
and he knew that was going to happen to begin with, and that's why this is going on. So it wasn't like he was like, I thought it would work, like whatever. So it's at this point, we don't know if he ever accomplished what he was going for, but it's at this point he then forces her, Virginia, at knife point, to go down on Becky.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. At knife point with a rope around her neck to go down on his wife here with no eyebrows.
With saying horrible things.
Horrible. Yeah. This is fucking horrible now. When I guess when they were satisfied with whatever they had done with her, he then strikes her in the head, Virginia. Gary hits Virginia in the head with the butt of the rifle. This was a blow that was hard enough to fracture her skull and cause hemorrhaging. So a fucking hard hit to the head. Hit her really hard, but did not knock her unconscious, though.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's at this point that he starts shooting her instead. So, and we know she was conscious because there's gunpowder residue on her hands, indicating that she had her hands up in a defensive gesture, obviously. I shot her several times in the head. By the way, this was after she had begged to be released, offered to pay them money, said, I have thousands of dollars in cash, I'll give it to you, just let me go, all this type of shit. So it's at this point that Becky goes, well, is she dead? He's already bashed her head in and shot her, so he just emptied the rifle into her just to make sure. It is shots, started off in the head, 4 in the head, a bunch in the torso, and then one down in the crotch area as well.
What?
Just to make sure.
Oh, boy.
14 shots in all. 14, as if this woman didn't suffer enough.
I don't know that a rifle holds 14.
I don't know if he emptied it or what.
Is it a 7-round mag? He may have had 2 7-round mags.
Maybe,
that's
but
terrible.
He did 14 shots. That's how many bullets were recovered here. So then they covered her body, poor Virginia here, with a bale of hay, and then went back to the house to pick up their beer cooler because they still had some beers in it.
Ooh.
So after you assault a woman and kill her, you get thirsty. It's Miller time at that point. Or Coors time, more likely over here.
The mountains is blue.
Yeah.
Where's the baby? What the fuck?
In the house. Going, where'd mom go?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Her husband gets home. Virginia's husband, Gary, gets home. He was at a marketing strategy meeting at the McClellan Ranch. They were talking about how to market their ranch wares. He gets home about 8 o'clock, and he finds his 2 small children frightened and alone. So he's like, that's not like Virginia to leave the kids here alone for hours and have them be scared. So he couldn't find, he noticed that, like she does, their purse is not with her, shit like that. Like, where did she go? Right. The normal things of when somebody's been taken. So he asked his kids, where'd mommy go? And the one kid said, quote, Becky took her.
Yeah.
Again, that's pretty.
What a bad plan.
Yeah. So Gary, he doesn't know if that's true or not, or if it's just a kid making shit up. Right. Because as we've seen, the one story, the kid said that
saw Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan was here and helped my mother dispose of a body or some shit. So it could, you never know. Honestly, kids, they just make shit up or they imagine shit. So this guy calls his in-laws, and then he starts searching for Virginia. Obviously, his in-laws are all involved in this.
Right.
Immediately, everybody focuses on Gary and Becky because, the kid told her that Becky took him. And then Sue comes up and said, yeah, earlier in the day, they came by, asked if my husband was there, and then said, I thought your husband wasn't here. Then they just drank iced tea and left without leaving any clothes that they said they were going to drop off. So that was weird and suspicious. I just figured maybe they're nuts, but didn't know, if they were dangerous or whatever. So eventually the family calls the sheriff's department, and a deputy comes to the scene about 11 o'clock. They take statements from everybody and do an initial look over the Davis residence as well. And they patrol the area also, and they notice lights of a car in the distance. So after they drive up to the vehicle and pull it over, and it's the Davises driving in, and they identify them as the Davises. They question them. They ask them, do you know anything about Virginia being gone? And they said, God, no, Virginia's gone. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that poor lady. They were, obviously everyone was suspicious of them, but, they were, looking everywhere for him. And, they said that he says that he said that Davis, they told him, what happened that night. And they said, we drank a case of beer and,
that's a lot of beer.
Well, he said he drank a case of beer.
That's a lot of beer.
It's a shitload of beer.
Yeah.
And even though the sheriff's deputy said that he seemed sober at the time, he said he drank a case of beer. And Becky did most of the talking always. Apparently she was the talker for both of them. And she told Virginia's father, Becky said, quote, we want to do everything we can to help find your daughter. She then said, quote, I know how you feel. I was once raped myself.
Oh, boy.
What a piece of shit.
Wait, hold on. Who said anything about rape?
We don't know where she is.
Yeah.
She could have went somewhere, got in a car accident, is bleeding in a ditch somewhere.
How you feel.
So if someone's gone for 4 hours, you assume they're raped?
Jesus.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Anytime someone's gone for 4 hours, well, they must be raped, I'm sure. By now, they've been raped by half the town. So, wow. Davis here.
How long does the rape take? 4 or 5 minutes?
4 or 5, what?
5, 6 minutes?
5, 6 minutes. Jesus Christ. So that's another reference. So later on at the sheriff's station, they bring them in for questioning, Gary and Becky. Gary insists on being allowed to talk to Becky before he would make any statements. He said, I'll make a statement, but I won't do it till after I talk to my wife. So they were allowed to have a brief conversation in a small room at the station. And apparently he said to her, quote, the ball game's over, babe. And she said, quote, don't tell him shit, we'll get a lawyer. That's what they overheard being said. So that was what he needed to do. So they are allowed to leave that night, though. They won't admit to shit, and they don't have shit, so they let them leave that night. They let them go home. Wow, they must have felt like they beat the world at that point. Of course. They go home, and obviously everyone is very suspicious. The relatives are, I'm sure staring at the house angrily. So the next morning, a bunch of the relatives came over and started talking and started questioning. Like, fuck it, if the police won't do it,
right.
We don't need to Mirandize them.
We just got questions.
Yeah, I'll pin this motherfucker down and get answers.
Yeah.
It's, either way, we're going to find Virginia. I don't give a shit if it's legal or not. So they denied any knowledge. They said that Virginia was home when they left to go fishing. They said, yeah, we did see her. We saw her. We stopped by. We saw Krista. We said hi. And then we talked to her outside for a minute, and then we went fishing.
They went fishing.
I don't know shit about it. Drank a case of beer. You know how that goes. And Becky, like we said, volunteering her sympathy. She says, I really hope Virginia gets found. She's such a nice lady, and, all that sort of thing.
You got to find her to tend to her rape.
Oh, yeah. Because she's clearly raped.
It's going to hurt.
So on the basis of all this, and they think they're acting very suspicious, and they have no alibis, and the last people they saw them with were these idiots. So they go, we're going to arrest you too.
Okay.
We're just going to arrest you and see how it goes here. So it goes pretty fast, actually. By July 23rd, which is like 3 days later, Gary Davis reaches an agreement with the prosecutors already. Now, this agreement, though, is it all goes very quickly for a reason. They believe that Virginia might still be alive, and they're trying to get to her before anything happens to her. So at this point, they picture Virginia like tied up somewhere in the woods and alive.
Like hungry wolves circling a tree.
So he says, I'll help you find her if you take the death penalty off the table for anything that may have happened, just in case. You never know. So they reach a deal with this. He has court-appointed counsel and all of this shit. She might be in need of medical attention, so they allow him to plead guilty and not to seek the death penalty in exchange for this information. That's what they're going to do. But the problem is he tells them exactly where to go, and they find her dead body hidden under bales of hay, and they go, you're a fucking liar.
Right.
You knew she was dead because you killed her and put her there, stupid, and buried her in hay. So the district court, there's a big hearing. They do allow the prosecutor to take that deal off the table.
How about that?
And they say, you know what? We'd love to get the death penalty for this guy. We'd love to. They do not go for the death penalty against Becky.
Really?
Though, yeah, it's weird. Because
he
did the shooting.
He
did the shooting. Yeah. Now he'll claim alternately that he did everything and she did nothing, and that he did everything because he made her, or because she made him. So it's all his fault and it's all her fault. Okay. He'll say that both ways, and she always says it's his fault. Yeah. She's not taking.
Well, she's not going to take the heat for this.
No. And he sort of sometimes does. Now, the court found that he knew that Virginia was dead when he entered into the plea agreement, and that makes it null and void because he was lying. So at this point, he enters a plea of not guilty because what the fuck does he have to lose? And they do a 105-member jury thing, and there's a lot of different there's a lot of bickering over the jury. A lot of bickering, like just a complete back and forth. People, we'll talk about one later briefly, but it's a quick, just a sea of shit of, you don't believe in the death penalty? Well, I might believe in the death penalty. Well, then they get struck, and then someone challenges that they get struck because they said they might, but it's a pain in the ass. We don't need to go into it. Now, Leona here, his second wife, she start talking to her. They're trying to get background. She told police investigators at this point, when they talked to her, that he used to abuse her in drunken rages, tried to coerce her into a menage a trois with another woman, and had once pointed a gun at her. But then later on, she takes that all back and says that the gun was plastic, and that he was actually a good husband and a father who just drank too much on the weekends. Okay. So he's just typical, 60s guy. So what
about the threesome?
Well, I mean, yeah, he drank too much and would ask for a threesome because he's drunk, but nothing out of the ordinary is what he's saying here. So now his case here, what does he do? He doesn't look good for him here. He tells his lawyer a bunch of the other thing too, he doesn't have a steady story that he's even telling his lawyer. Yeah. His lawyer's like, I don't know how to defend you because you won't tell me shit. Yeah. There's a letter to a psychiatrist that the lawyer seeks an evaluation of Gary, and in this, the lawyer says that his client, quote, fits the old sexual psychopath standard in the way that he's twisted sexually, and he said there's no question to, quote, who done it in this thing, and he says that basically sometimes he'll admit it and sometimes he won't admit it, and that's it. He says he has admitted the killing and most of the sexual acts to me, and then he takes it back. It's that sort of thing here. So there's one particular juror that I find very interesting. This is the only one we'll talk about. There's an issue where it's brought up that Gary says he's going to claim he was so intoxicated he blacked out and he doesn't know anything about it. There's a juror who says, A.B. Olivius, says that this would be an issue for him because he doesn't think he could vote for the death penalty under these circumstances. He said, I was caught for a DUI and they sentenced me to 36 weeks of therapy, 10 weeks of education, and 26 weeks of alcohol therapy. And I learned a lot about alcohol. I don't think I could give the death penalty because I think it's a sickness, and I don't think I could send a sick man to the gas chamber or the electric chair. Okay. So he sees it like that. And so they go back and forth, and they end up striking this juror. And even though he says otherwise, he's open to it. Yeah. He ends up striking this juror. He says his father died from cirrhosis, and alcoholism runs in his family. It's got to be a sickness, all that shit. So anyway, they end up striking him, and that's going to be a point of contention later on. Obviously, at the time of the trial, Becky Davis by now has divorced him, his wife, Becky, and she's now going by Fincham again. And she does not testify in person. A transcript of her testimony is read to the jury, which is bullshit, I think.
That is shitty.
That's shitty. A, because you can't cross-examine a testimony.
You can't tell that. No, that's terrible.
And B, the jury, it's not all what you say. It's how you say it. It's nonverbal shit. Right. We're human beings. Yep. Nonverbal is huge.
Oh, God.
And you pick up nonverbal big time.
Body language, the way words are said, there's sarcasm,
there's an eye movement, there's a facial movement, there's a breath you take, there's a pause. How much time between what you say means a lot. Everything is so meaningful, and it just doesn't come across on paper.
It's communication.
Yeah,
communication is key.
Yeah, it's everything. So, so he has to testify here. It's against his lawyer's advice. Like, don't testify. They're going to ask you detailed questions about the horrible things you did to this woman, and you're going to have to answer it.
You're on trial for one of the worst murders I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
And your biggest witness is a piece of paper. So let's just pick that apart, and if you're convicted, we'll beat this shit on fucking trial.
And her testimony was all he did. Yeah. He did everything.
Let's beat this on appeal if they get us.
That's the thing. So he takes the stand on cross-examination. He has to say that he raped. He says that he raped Virginia, that he was the one who fired all 14 bullets into the body. He says in a statement, he says later on, he'll say, quote, I'm the guilty one. Becky was not guilty. She was not guilty of murdering Ginny Mae. The only thing Becky was guilty of was marrying me. So he'll say that. And later on, he says that she forced him to and went into a rage and all this type of shit. So now closing arguments come around, because we don't really need to go into the details of this trial. It's pretty fucking clear. Closing arguments, the prosecutor says, the prosecutor, he goes over his thing, and they have a lot of objections to everything he says. I won't go over what he said. I'll just tell you the objections, what they said. The objections were that he improperly described the impact of Virginia's murder on her family, urged the jury to respond to the defendant's crime with an eye for an eye. I don't like that shit. Denigrated the defendant's exercise of his constitutional rights, improperly asked the jury to sit as the conscience of the community and to send a message, and improperly urged jury to disregard the defendant's plea for mercy. So that's what they're objecting to. Now, his defense. Now, what do you do if you're this guy's defense attorney? This is a horrible crime, as bad as it comes, and you have to go say, please don't kill him to a bunch of people that would love to strangle him with their bare hands.
Can you guys just be nice this one time?
Yeah. The defense, he says, Jesus, don't envy this guy. No. He says, quote, now it's my turn to come and ask you for Gary Davis's life. That's what I'm here to do. I'm moved by this case. It's going to take me a minute to talk to you. I don't know I didn't know what I was going to say to you. I couldn't sleep last night. Hell, I couldn't sleep for the last 5, and I don't think I was alone. There are times in this case that I hate Gary Davis. This is his lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that, and I think you know it. There's times that I hate the things he's done, and I've told him, and I'll tell you there's no excuse for it. No excuse at all. I can't recall a case where I've made a closing argument, and I can't recall a case where we have spoken as little as you and we have in this one. And there's a reason for it. The reason is that in December, when I first saw Gary Davis, I knew that sometime or other I was going to be standing here asking for 12 people's mercy. That's all he's got. That's all we can speak. Jesus Christ. He said, let's skip ahead here where he says, if I thought Brandon and Kristen May would have 5 seconds of peace by Gary's death, those are her kids, by the way, I would choke the life out of him right now, and he knows it.
Yeah.
It's his lawyer in court. I'd turn around in front of a judge and a bunch of police officers and choke the life out of him. But it won't help, he says. He's got a life sentence. He's never, ever getting out, and he deserves never, ever to get out. They haven't even found him guilty yet. This is the closing argument in the guilty phase.
You guys, when they said that I had this case, I've been dreading the shit out of this moment right now.
No shit.
Look, I want to fucking murder him, but how about we don't?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Well, he says worse. He says, I have been on this case since December when the public defender got off. The public defender got off because of Gary's lies, and Gary has lied to me. Gary set up the public defender for failure. In a lot of respects, he set me up for failure. I guess I'm too prideful, worried about my reputation. That's why I hated him the other day. As bad as Gary Davis is, and he won't hear me say otherwise, there's someone equally as bad, maybe worse. That someone continues to lie. That's someone who is battered when Gary Davis finally summons up the spark of conscience and wants to tell police it's the battered, abused Rebecca Fincham that says, don't tell him shit, we'll get a lawyer. Because she says how abused she was, and it was all, he was dragging her around and making her. And then they said, well, that's funny. The police heard her say, don't tell him shit, we'll get a lawyer. So he says, I submit to you, this shows who's wearing the pants in this family. I'm not saying that forgives Gary Davis. Nothing forgives Gary Davis. He says he deserves to get what Fincham got. They're in the same position. So he's, life is basically what they're begging for. Jury comes back, 3 hours of deliberation, and they say, guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're guilty. Murder in the first degree, so felony murder, conspiracy to commit felony murder in the first degree, and second degree kidnapping and conspiracy to commit second degree kidnapping. Kidnapping's a very nice aggravator for murder. That
pushes you right up to the fucking death chamber.
Yeah, the sentencing, Gary May, who is her husband, Virginia's husband, all of his family, they all testify, all of her family testifies. Her father testifies here. Her father says that he remembers looking Gary Davis straight in the eye when they were looking for Virginia and demanding to know if he was involved, and Davis insisting that he had nothing to do with the disappearance. And the father said to him, quote, I said, if you did, so help me God, I'll kill you. So I'm like, that's awesome. Wish he would have just shot him in the face right there. So Sue, the woman they were going to abduct here, they also talk to the jury and all of that sort of thing. And the thing is, they're looking for mitigating evidence. The defense has to look for some mitigating evidence, which is a tough sell here. It's difficult. So basically,
how do you defend that?
Well,
how do you get a mitigator in there at all?
He seems terrible. Well, he says he wants the lawyer to talk to a bunch of family and neighbors and friends and shit like that. And basically, the lawyer tried to ask around. Nobody had anything of value to say for him. The mother indicated that he was no longer welcome at her home. So that's not helping. One of his ex-wives, who still liked him here, I think it was Tanya, she said that she had been physically abused by him during their relationship. Another investigator for the public defender's office said that former tenants in the apartment building where he lived and worked, told an investigator that he was a liar and a little strange and kinky. His brother also was interviewed, and he said his brother said that it was his opinion that the murder was the inevitable conclusion of Gary's life story. My brother's a jerk off, is what he says.
This was going to happen either way.
So he says, tell you what, this is why you shouldn't kill me. My stepbrothers molested me. Didn't say anything till now. My stepbrothers molested me.
Yeah.
He says that that he was adamant about it. He said, quote, I was molested dozens of times as a child. He said that his brothers, who were teenagers, would return home from dates with girls and make him, quote, sniff their crotches and force him to have oral and anal sex. Okay. Which seems really weird.
What's with the forcing of the sniffing?
Well, if this is what I'm saying, if they just had sex with a girl and they were like, sniff my crotch, then why would they want to have?
Right. Why would they want to?
They'd already fucked out at that, I would think, or maybe they're giant, awful monster sex perverts. I'm not sure.
Can't stop.
I don't know what it is. He says that this happened from 9 to 12, but then in the same breath, he says it didn't have anything to do with his late behavior. He says, I think people use that as a crutch. Everyone wants to blame what they do on other people or things. So, he also says that he never confronted his stepbrothers. He never told his parents about the abuse. I've never told anyone till right now.
Right.
And he says, quote, I don't even feel any anger towards them. A little hurt, but what can I say? Nope, that's not the response of someone who was viciously sexually abused for 3 years. A little hurt, but que sera, like, no.
I was forcibly blew somebody.
Fuck no.
But, listen, life goes on.
Hey. Everybody's got their weird thing, it just happens. Whose brothers haven't forced anal sex on him for 3 straight years?
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. So, yeah, they all think they find aggravators. Murder was committed while he was under the sentence of imprisonment of still on parole. Murder was committed by intentionally killing a person, kidnapped or being held hostage by them. Murder was committed when he was a party to an agreement to kill another person in furtherance. So it's like a conspiracy there. In the course or in furtherance of second-degree kidnapping, murder was committed in an especially heinous, cruel, or depraved manner. I would say the murder was committed for the purpose of avoiding or preventing lawful arrest or prosecution. So that's a shitload of aggravators. Yeah. And they come back and the jury finds oogats in the mitigating department. You say nothing mitigates your shittiness.
Smelling a teenager's dick and getting...
sorry.
That's not enough?
They take 3 hours of deliberation here to say, you, sir, may fuck off. Death penalty for Gary Lee Davis.
Shit.
So they send his ass away for the death penalty. He blames Becky now at this point. Now he's blaming Becky.
Yep.
He says now afterwards, quote, the victim in this crime was not touched by me in no way. That story I told while on the stand was to get Becky off. Meanwhile, her case was already over. Becky's crime, not mine. That's what he says. Then he says, I think Rebecca could have done a lot more than just shoot someone. You would have had to have seen her during the crime. She had so much jealous anger built up that I didn't even know who she was. So
jealous of what?
That he was just having
that he was just raping a chick?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. Like she wants to see him have sex with someone so she can get mad at them and attack them or something. It's like I don't know what her psychology is, but that's what he's saying her psychology is. We don't even know here. So he appeals. He appeals in 1990. He appeals in 89, and then he appeals. Then he says he doesn't want to appeal anymore. He says he's done fucking appealing.
Okay.
He wants nothing to do with it anymore. Yeah. He's done. Then he gets a new lawyer that says, no, your lawyer was terrible.
We can appeal all day.
We'll get you right off death row. So he goes, you know what? Appeal it. So first of all, it's appealing for alcohol. He says that, the leading authorities on alcoholism say that, agree with the fact that he could have been suffering from blackouts and that could have been mitigated.
What?
He could have had a blackout from all this alcohol he was ingesting.
And you murder people?
You black out, you kidnap, murder people, and force them to go down on your wife. That's what you do in a blackout situation. So they said that could have been mitigating evidence here. This is ridiculous. He's had a horrible life, and this alcohol's, come up from there. But the sheriff's deputy who stopped them said that he didn't think he was intoxicated. And, there was that, basically. He said that, he said he would have loved and done anything short of bending the facts to make an alcohol-related arrest on Gary Davis at the scene. Yeah. They wanted to take him in and have him under arrest.
Then we could hold on to him.
Yeah, if they thought he had a drop of alcohol in the system, they would have arrested him immediately under suspicion of DUI, just so you're leaning on him a little bit. So also there's no physical or anything kind of tests there, no, blood alcohol level or anything like that. He also claims that he had a head injury. And the old lawyer was just completely derelict in his duties, that he did not investigate the head injury that he suffered in a car accident in 1965. So he claims that he told the lawyer about it, and the lawyer should have investigated because he had a hospitalization for it, and it caused his drinking to increase, blackouts, and to start his criminal history. Now, he was kicked out of the Marines for being a homicidal drunken maniac before this.
Yeah.
So I don't know about that. This is in 63, I think. So a little shady there. The argument that they get to this, they say that his military records, say that in 64 he was diagnosed with having homicidal suicidal tendencies and an alcohol problem. So they said that's bullshit. There's no evidence that the lawyer would have uncovered anything more that would have been mitigating, that would have, caused brain damage or anything like that. The only thing was that his own testimony, that he said that after his first wife began to drift apart, he began to increase his use of alcohol. Right. That's the only thing that comes from him. There's no corroboration there. So it's that sort of thing. A doctor that examined him did not see any indication of organic brain syndrome or any brain damage, anything that showed up. Didn't have like CTE or anything like that, I guess. I don't know. I think you have to be dead to look at your brain for that. But just in a normal thing, they didn't see any normal signs of trauma or damage. So they said that this was not an effective representation. Also, he says it was ineffective representation because the guy's closing argument sucked.
You gave him nothing.
Yeah, he said it was bad and that I should get off because my lawyer had a shitty closing argument. Okay. He says that and the court says, quote, although Truman's choice of words was flamboyant and perhaps overdramatic at times, his closing that's funny. They're taking shots at his style. Jesus Christ. The statement taken as a whole conveyed several important messages to the jury about his client. He made it clear from the outset that he was asking for mercy in the face of overwhelming evidence. Rather than attempting to argue the absurd, which was that he was innocent, he was arguing to save his life, basically. Second, he made a strong plea to the jury to consider moral justification, saying that Becky didn't get it, so why should he get it? And that sort of shit here. And so they said that he was making a decision. Yeah. It was strategic. And, the lawyer also said that he was, quote, not going to, quote, twist or fudge anything, attempting to maintain his credibility and candor with the jury. And he said we can't fault him for saying that.
No, I like the way he did it. Because,
that's the only chance he had.
You drug a woman out of a car by a fucking rope around her neck.
You can't. There's that jury is excuse.
No excuse. You've been found guilty of that.
No excuse for that.
Nobody's going to.
Beg for mercy is all you can do.
All you got is, look, I heard what you heard. Yep. It's horrible. Let's not kill him.
So they say, we can't find any fault in what the judge did or what your lawyer did. You can keep fucking off, mister. Right. He says now he's really done with appeals. He said he's contacted his lawyer to put a stop to it. It has nothing to do with being chicken. I don't think a chicken could do it. Sitting in this little square hole for a decade isn't my bag of tea, which I don't think I've heard.
That's not what it is.
It's not, bag of tea. I was raised in the outdoors, and this is really getting to me. Even if I had a life term, big deal. I don't want a natural life in here. This is not a death wish. It's what I feel is best for myself. So, Then he said he's trying to get himself executed ahead of another guy because he makes a joke. He says, quote, one good thing about being executed first, the needle will be clean. That's what he thinks he's a fucking comedian now.
They use new ones, sir. Remember when he was doing comedy? This is what he's
talking about. He thinks he's Mr. Vaudeville over here. So execution's going to happen. During this time on death row, he reunites with some of his family, including his first two wives. Why would they want to spend time with this person? Jesus. Witnesses said that he experienced a dramatic spiritual conversion in his final years. Oh, spiritual. The Lord Jesus done touched him and then touched him a little lower.
The Lord Jesus made me sniff his crotch, and it smelled good.
It smelled good. So, his ex-wife, Tanya Tatum here, she lives in Texas, and she said,
she does.
Yeah, Tanya Tatum from Texas. I'm Tanya Tatum from Texas, from Tyler, Texas. How you doing? Nice to meet Tanya Tatum, Tyler, Texas. Nice to meet you.
That's Tanya Tucker's original name.
Tanya Tatum. Yeah, absolutely. I can't say I'm from Tyler, Texas, and I'm Tanya Tatum. Jesus Christ, ain't nobody gonna listen to that shit.
Tanya Tatum from Tyler, Texas.
Yeah. That's her. So she says,
"Is that for real?"
That's for real. No, I don't know if she's from Tyler, Texas, but she's Tanya Tatum from Texas.
All right.
I can only assume it's from Tyler.
It'd be great that it's from Tyler.
It'd be amazing. Christ, you kidding me? So she doesn't understand. By the way, this would be the first execution in the state of Colorado since the mid '60s.
Really?
So Colorado doesn't really do that shit. And she said, "I don't understand why they're executing him." His ex-wife. She said, "Quote: I know that this murder can't be any more heinous than probably countless others that have taken place in the state of Colorado. Okay. But why is he the fucking winner?"
I mean, I don't know. It's pretty fucking heinous.
Now, Bradley Guerrer, you know who he is?
Guerrer?
Bradley Guerrer is his son.
Oh, what?
Yeah, his son has his, because he changed. It's a long story.
What the shit?
Weird, right? Yeah, he's Bradley Guerrer somehow. That is his son, Gary's son. He has been corresponding with Gary from Texas. The reason he can't visit is because he's in prison.
What?
He is in prison serving 45 years.
For murder?
For crimes committed 2 weeks after Gary killed Virginia.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
What?
Yep. Apparently he had gotten out of jail and then was back in a facility for violating his parole.
Incredible.
So that's that. Now his oldest daughter moved to Colorado from Texas.
What are you doing?
To try to reconnect with it. She hadn't seen him since she was 14 months old.
Good.
She's never met this man.
Good.
Does not know him.
Don't go.
Found out my dad's a scumbag, rapist, murderer. I better move closer so I can get to know him better. I think I know plenty. Thanks. I'm good.
Incredible.
She said, quote, my dad had a choice in his actions. I never got to know him the way most children got to know their parents. I get angry with him, but then I do miss him. So there's that. So then there's a clemency attempt at the last minute.
Yeah.
This is to the governor. They send a videotape of him sitting there shackled. And he says, quote, he talks about it's hurt a whole bunch of people, this crime, a whole bunch on both sides. He talks about how his other daughter recently died from a brain tumor. Gary's daughter. He said that he spoke about, because they said, what would you, if the governor spared your life, what could you do? And he said that he was a cook and he could cook in jail and he'd like to spend time with his prison. He's spending plenty of time.
Yeah.
Said he'd like to spend time with his family, get to know his children that he hasn't seen. And the governor said, fuck no. Don't think so. He said, quote, there's undoubtedly has been some rehabilitation of his character and his demeanor, but I do not believe that whatever remorse or rehabilitation that is displayed here justifies reaching that extraordinary event that would cause this governor to give him clemency.
Okay.
Fuck off is what he says. You, sir, continue to fuck off. So Gary at this point starts a yapping.
Oh, bye.
Starts a yapping, and he says that, sober, I consider myself a real nice person. Drunk, I'm a real live monster. So now he's saying it was all alcohol. He's saying, I've always had strong driving force Jesus Christ. He says that, he's always had this strong driving force inside of him and alcohol let him go for it. Cause he was saying how, Ted Bundy he thought was full of shit for saying it was porn. He's like, that shit was in me the whole time. Alcohol just let me let it out. Yeah. So maybe porn just let him let it out, but they didn't put it there. We all have that shit there to begin with, is what he's saying. Where he claims at this point that he's raped 15 women in his life.
I believe him.
I definitely believe him. Christ, if you got caught for one, you did 10.
He got caught for 3.
Yeah. You got caught for 3. You did 2.
Yeah.
So you did 10 to 20.
Yeah.
I would say, that makes sense. He says that, he then goes back and forth on his stories, and he says, that his lawyer said that Gary, quote, told too many stories to too many people and no one really knows what the truth is. I guess I wonder if he even knows what the truth is at this point. He has pen pals. More. A woman from Ireland flew all the way to Colorado to visit him before his execution and said she would pay for his cremation as well. His longest correspondence, though, was with a Denver woman who was a prison activist who would basically come for more than 10 years and see him on death row. He writes on death row, I'm revealing things I've kept closed all my life. I'll never come face to face with you. It's easy to talk. I know some of it may seem like trash, but I've lived in that trash for years. I've always hated myself from what I've done. He said, I want to write you in my own words about my feelings of needing a woman without her consent. It'll be like cleansing for me. For the first time in my life, I'm going to let someone in my mind. I've tried talking to doctors, but can't really say anything to them. He said, at a very young age, I thought it was okay to take pussy if you wanted to. Most girls or women won't turn you in as long as they don't get hurt.
Oh my God.
What the fuck?
How do you say those words?
He wrote them.
Wow.
That's why he couldn't say it to a doctor, maybe. A good man will take your thoughts first and treat you as if you were a baby. I will tell you a few do's and don'ts to a happier sex life if you like, he tells this person. He says, as years went by, just showing myself, whacking it, wasn't enough. I had to touch. I needed some pussy by force. To hear the girl or woman scream and beg as I did, every person I raped, I enjoyed.
What the shit?
Making us not feel too fucking bad for him at all here. He said, I never thought about getting into trouble until it's over. During and before it happens, all I'd think about was making them do whatever I wanted. I just lay there with a smirk on my face, yelling at them and watching them cry and beg me not to hurt them. Some of the girls were real young. Some were grown women. I treat them all the same. I didn't care if they cry or begged. It would take if they didn't cry or beg, it would take the excitement out of it. He's a fucking monster.
What the shit is happening? How do you get to that place? That's not he's right. That's in you. That's started from fucking birth, right?
It has to be.
He said,
afterwards, he said, sometimes I'd sit there and cry and want to hold the person and tell them how sorry I was. The next day I'd be right back out looking again, though.
Jesus God. What?
He says that, I've been locked up. And then another time he says, I have been locked up one time for a rape charge. That doesn't make me a sex offender. I went to church once. That doesn't make me a Christian. It's the same thing.
It's entirely different.
It's very different. He said, everyone told me I'd come off death row, that I've got to quit trusting people. The papers say I have about 5 years left. The lawyers say about 2. I see the paper pulling the rape of Virginia May as one of my charges. It's not as bad as it is already, because he was never charged with rape. And he said they put that in his charges, and he's pissed off about that.
He's mad that they're calling him a rapist?
That's why he said they're calling me a rapist.
You raped 15 people, you dick.
But that's not the charge.
Okay.
Come on. Treat me fairly and legally.
Oh, boy.
So I know everyone's going to be real sad, but October 13th, 1997 is execution day.
Yes.
We get to kill this asshole. This is what I mean. This is tough here. First Colorado execution in 30 years. Last meal, Jimmy.
Yes.
Last meal is ice cream. Chocolate and vanilla.
Just
ice cream in those little cups.
No.
Yep.
The styrofoam with the wood.
No, those little paper cup things that you pull the thing off of, and I think you probably have to scrape it with an Italian ice spoon.
Yeah.
That's depressing. He did get as much as he wanted, though.
Oh.
Little cups of ice cream. I'll take it all.
Whole bag.
He also, shortly before his execution, requested a cigarette, but a smoking ban in place in prisons made his request denied. So he couldn't even have a cigarette. He made no final statement because he was pissed off about the cigarette, probably. First prisoner executed since 1967, and still not another one in Colorado since He's the only man to be executed in Colorado in the last 50 years. Just this asshole. Now, okay.
52 fucking years.
That's amazing. That's fucking amazing. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you want to kill him right now, and you're like, awesome, and then you hear this asshole. This is an Adams County district attorney who says this. Frankly, I'd kill 10 Gary Davises to save one 7-Eleven clerk's life. If one guy going out to rob that 7-Eleven sticks his finger in his pocket instead of a gun because he believes there's a death penalty, the job is done. So that's what they said at the end of it. And now one of the prominent anti-death penalty people said that congratulations to Colorado, who will now be joining the ranks of the barbarians. He said, we've had one sacrificial defendant to prove how tough everyone was. Now can we get to funding programs that have meaning instead of a white elephant that costs tens of millions of dollars? So, okay, everybody feel good about themselves? Yeah. We've all gotten revenge. Now can we do something else? Now, more reactions here. This makes you think, because you want to kill this asshole and you want this guy to be dead. This is the perfect case where if you've listened, we have very mixed feelings about the death penalty. We want these people people who there's any question, I don't want anything. Guy like this, there's no question of what he did. Right. Definitely did it.
He said he raped more than this.
We definitely want him dead. Yeah. You know what I mean? But this should be a case where you ask the lady's husband or father or mother or sister.
Ask Krista.
Would you like to shoot him with a bazooka? Okay, because it can't be something that they could mess up on, then it's inhumane. Would you like to shoot this man with a combat grade bazooka that will blow him to smithereens?
Like ISIS.
Would you? And if they go, no, that's not, then he's life in prison.
Yeah.
If the family doesn't want to do it, life in prison. That's how it should be. If you want to shoot him with a bazooka, fine. Yeah. We'll let you. That's what I think it should be. But the father here, Ginny Mae's father, he says, quote, I can see that some of this has drawn a lot of attention, and I'm glad that it has. Some of you some of you may say we were after revenge. You are wrong. We were just spectators. Compassion was given. Justice was done. It's over. What more needs to be said? That's after the death penalty. Now, that's reasonable, and it makes you think. And then this happens. Then you get people like this, who is Bob Grant, who's the guy who said he'd kill a million of them to save one 7-Eleven guy. He says that justice delayed, but justice nonetheless. I saw a lot of better people die in a lot worse deaths in the fields in Vietnam. And he says that, quote, he will have the opportunity to look the devil in the eye, just as Davis is doing right now. He says he hopes that other Colorado killers will have the opportunity to look the devil in the eye. And then I'm like, never mind. Don't like it anymore. If that asshole's good, they're going to look the devil in the eye. Nope, then I don't want the death penalty at all. Now I'm on Gary's fucking side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, that guy and Gary are not too far off in my book as far as people I don't like.
Did that guy, was he in Vietnam? Because he just pulled the whole, I didn't watch my buddies die face down in the muck for this shit. Like, calm down,
he had
sir.
To have been in Nam.
Fucking relax.
It's like 97. Chill out. Everyone's like, what?
Viet what?
you were Charlie Sheen?
Right.
Odd fact. Odd fact. That's an odd fact, though.
Yeah.
Gary Lee Davis is also the name of an actor who worked for more than 20 years in Hollywood.
Oh, my God.
He was in a bunch of different, like he was like a bit part in tons of Chips, Give Me a Break, Charlie's Angels, The A-Team, Facts of Life, Mr. Belvedere, Cheers, Wonder Years, you name it. Strange thing here, though, he started working in 1975.
And his career died.
Which was right when he got out of prison. And his last role, 1997.
Oh, my God.
Boom!
They killed his career, too.
Guy. Dude, he's got the name of a fucking killer. They didn't put him in any more roles.
No.
This is the ultimate mistaken identity. Literally, they executed this guy, and he's never had another fucking acting gig since. He had steady work for 22 years, Jimmy.
And they executed his career.
So, poor Gary Lee. Someone hire him. He's still alive. Hire him to be in a fucking movie, for Christ's sake. That is Byers, Colorado. That is Gary Lee Davis. And poor Virginia Mae.
Unbelievable.
And her children and husband and everybody. What a fucking disaster. Wow. Told you we had a mouthful for you this week. A real handful of fuckery.
It was a lot of fun.
It was crazy. Wow. If you like that story, or if you enjoyed hearing about it anyway, you don't know how you can like it, you can tell us about it by going to Apple Podcasts, the purple icon, and giving us 5 stars. It really helps drive us up the charts. We don't know why, but that's how their algorithm works. Helps drive you up the charts. So give us 5 stars. Just say you're following instructions or directions. It really doesn't matter there. You can also please go to shutupandgivememurder.com. You can find all your merchandise needs, all your information. You can also listen to Crime and Sports from there. Listen to Crime and Sports. It's hilarious. You do not have to like sports at all. It's really just about liking us making fun of an idiot who's falling from grace. That's it. Also there, all your merchandise, but especially you can get tickets to live shows at shutupandgivememurder.com. Live shows coming up. San Diego's almost sold out in 2 weeks. LA has a few tickets left the next night, so get those. And then after that, we're going everywhere. We're going to be in where are we in Carolinas at the end of the month?
Yeah, we got
Raleigh, Charlotte, and Atlanta. There's tickets left to all 3 of those. Yeah. So get your tickets, because those are some of the only shows that really have tickets left. So grab their tickets to those, and we can't wait to see everybody out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can also follow us on social media.
Yes.
We are at Murder Small on Twitter, at Smalltown Pod on Facebook, and at Smalltown Murder on Instagram. Follow us on all those. And finally, if you want to be a hero, if you want to be one of these people that we're going to talk about in a minute, and wait till you hear the glowing terms that we use for these. We love these people. If you want to be one of our donors, one of our producers, you can do that very, very easily by going over to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or go over to PayPal and use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. All those links can be found right where, Jimmy?
Over at shutupandgivememurder.com.
Damn straight. That's right. So without further ado, do. I know what I need to hear because it makes me feel wonderful and all warm inside. Hit me with the names of the producers that we love so much.
This week's executive producers are Elizabeth, with no last name, but Lil Ryder is part of her email. I'm not going to give the rest of it because I don't want people to email her.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rachel Laminman, or Laminman. I'm at a loss for words for that one. No idea. Jordan Bennett, Jeff Capp, Edward Claringbold, I think. Yes. And Edward married his Emily, and congrats to the two of you.
Good
Thank
for you.
And congratulations. Under the Sea Fabrics, Christine Conklin, Joseph Minner, John Schaefer, and Christopher Burland. I think that's right.
Okay. Well, thank you.
It's probably
even
not.
If we messed it up.
Thank you all very much. Other producers this week are Cynthia Archambault, yes, Nicole Johnson, Holly Bieski, Blake Stevenson, Catherine Brody, Colby Schaefer, Jesse with no last name, Rebecca Mason, Nick Manzi, what is that? Manzius? I think that's not right. But I tried. Emma Jansen,
Good try.
Kelly Everett, Mandy Jones, Joey Coco, Ruby Perez, Tracy Holmes, Jay Kumar, Sue Adler Kuiper, Mike Patrick, Matt Oak or Avery, Eliana Croniger. Yes.
There you go.
Schmoltz McDouple. Schmoltz. You know what I said.
Yeah, you got you.
You're dicking with me, and you're not going to get me to try my best on that one because I don't know how to do that. Alex Taylor, Karen Jorgensen, Michael Buckley, Kelsey Driscoll, Cody with no last name, Justice Stint, Aubrey Stewart, Tamika Van Dunk, Carolyn Rickles, Joanne Gurley, Lauren Gibbons, Arlen Solem, Dylan Arceo. I think.
Okay.
Axio. Faye,
damn.
I don't know if it's an R or a K. Faye Ferguson, Ben Matthias, Matthias, Troy Turnwald, Nicole with no last name, Alyssa Camacho, Christopher Nielsen, Devin Murch, Justin Hinkle. Sorry, Justin. Amanda Schrum, Jerry Boyette, Logan Holman, Greg McMullen, Evan Schmoll, Thomas Smith, Michelle Coyne, Ellie Cruz, Chelsea Morgan, Dorothy Jones, Kimberly Burke, Brendan Abels, TJ and Yvonne, Tom Barry, Sonny Johansson, Alyssa Rubel, Rachel Hilliard Brown, Jesse Hartman, Rob Sukach, Stephanie Alexander, Gary Howard. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Wayne Easlick, Kaylee Spencer, Amy Spicer, Aaron Jarrell, Lee Cannelly, Kira Bai, Kyle Leger, Hillary Emick, Craig Ventura. Craig's back in. Thanks, Craig. Nice to see you. Karen Edgen. Jesus God, I'm so bad at this. Aaron and Matt
great,
May.
Jimmy. You're
no,
doing
I'm
great.
not.
There you are.
Ronnie Kumar, Ashley Putas, Scott Cloud, Emily Warwick, Thomas Smither, Tim Hartman, Danielle Volcanes, Tyler Sheets, Brian Verblau, I think, Emmanuel Christian, Chris Voss, Heather Campbell, Patrick Martin, Scott McDonald, Teresa Thomas, Justin Miller, Robin Anderson, Sean Hartley, Krista Walker, Bug, B-U-G, those are all initials, but I'm going with Bug, Mark Foster, Brian Carr, Jude Kendall, Malin Lindbergh, Devin Garrett, Sally Norris, Mitch Mandela Mushrooms. Oh, those are mushrooms somewhere that somebody wanted us to talk about.
Sweet.
Ethan's girl Nikki of Nikki's Shirts and Shit had a birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And thank all of you Patreon supporters. You guys are why we do it.
Thank you, everyone, from the bottom of our hearts. Yeah. You guys are goddamn amazing. And I got to tell you guys something. You guys, with all of your donations, you make it so we can keep the show exactly how we want to make it and exactly how you guys seem to like it. Because we'll tell you something. We've had networks and business people try to push this show and our other show in so many different fucking directions. Square pegs and round holes. You should curse less. You should do this more. Don't talk about that. They should be 45 minutes long. All of these different things that you guys don't seem to like. And we don't have to listen to that because we have a good base of donations to where we're not sitting here going, oh man, we'll do anything for that advertising money. We say we're more beholden to our listeners than anybody out there.
They matter matter more.
And you guys cause that. So thank you for giving us that freedom. And you get to buy yourself the show that you like rather than something that's, kind of twisted around by corporations. So here we are. Thank you for doing that. Jimmy, what if people wanted to thank you? How could they do it?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, Whisman Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Where are you?
Oh, you can find me at Jimmy P is Funny, or just copy and paste my last name from the show description, because otherwise you will screw it up. So do that. Yeah. Find us, say hello, all that good stuff, and we're going to keep coming back and back and back. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
When a home security system is triggered, the police often assume it's a false alarm, but not with SimpliSafe Home Security. SimpliSafe has video verification technology that helps police get to the scene up to 3.5 times faster, making their average police response time just 7 minutes. And 24/7 professional monitoring starts at just $15 a month. Visit SimpliSafe.com/small to get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. That's SimpliSafe.com/small. SimpliSafe.com/small. If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country, who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.